What's up, everybody? Good morning and a very happy Thursday to you all. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. Thanks for waking up and making us a part of your start here, whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, streaming us online at sportstalk1051.com. You got your app, download it, take it on the go. Also, you got your smart devices, smart speakers like your Alexa devices, video streams also up and rolling on YouTube. So what do we have on our good old game plan for us on this morning? Well, we're doing a little more cleaning as the Brewers completing a sweep against the Cincinnati Reds last night. 6-5 victory, although the Reds making it very close towards the end, but the Brewers able to finish the thing off and get the win and get the off day before returning home in a big series starting tomorrow against the rival Chicago Cubs. Yesterday, we saw Contreras picking up another home run. Bowers also picking up another home run as part of that third inning back-to-back home runs for those two guys. So, and then we saw Shane Drowan gets a no decision, but he went 4 1/3, not giving up a single run, struck out 5, did issue 3 walks and 5 hits. Chad Patrick actually picked up the win, going an inning and 2/3. He also issued 3 walks though yesterday too. So Craig Yoho giving up 3 earned runs to allow the Reds to kind of sneak back into the game last night, but hey, got the W, and Brewers are now 20 games over 500 as we approach the halfway mark on the season, which we'll get to after this weekend's series against the Chicago Cubs. So we'll talk some baseball, plenty of baseball here this morning as we recap last night's win for the Brewers and maybe take a peek at the upcoming series against the Chicago Cubs, which will be in Milwaukee this weekend. So baseball talk coming up on the docket. So we'll hit that up. It is Thursday, which we have a little 3 up and 3 down. So what it's kind of like, again, stock reports or whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. You can make your picks by hitting us up with a quick text or a quick message, or give us a shout at 715-830-1912, or hit us up on the Section 105 chats on the YouTube video stream that's available there too. So give us your 3 up and 3 down, 3 sports things that are rising, 3 things that are falling. It is also a Am I Wrong Thursday, brought to you by Mike's Star Market. So am I wrong? What's a sports take? What's a sports opinion? What's a sports thought that you have out there where you would say, am I wrong? Am I wrong? What do you got? So send those on over. Best ones we'll read up on the air too. So got that on the docket. We'll throw maybe a little hoops chat in here too, because the Bucks did trade up into the second round to get the final pick in the second round yesterday. So we'll continue to talk some more hoops. If you had a chance to read the full piece from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel yesterday, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I was able to finally, after the program yesterday, read the whole thing. It's a beefy read, but it's definitely a well worth it. So if you had a chance to read it, you can give us your thoughts, your takeaways on it too, and I'll kind of go through what maybe really stood out to me from the Journal-Sentinel piece from Jim Ozarski. Lori Nickel also contributed to it as well. So, but yeah, give me your thoughts. Give us your thoughts if you had a chance to dive into that. We'll catch up with Jake Boakes, conservation warden for the good old state of Wisconsin. So if you have any outdoor-related questions, send those on over. Best way is hitting us up with a text, 715-830-1912. That way I can get those to Jake. So send those on over, and Jake will join us at about 8:30 this morning for a little tailgate outdoors brought to you by Tilden Gun. So that's kind of your game plan for us this morning. We're going to talk lots of baseball, and we'll talk a little hoops, and well, wherever else the conversation takes us, right? So, and whatever else is on your mind. You got a topic that you'd like to throw out there, or anything like that, a question? Hey, we're an open book, so send those puppies on over. All right. So let's get things rocking and rolling here this morning. We'll take our first break. We'll get things going here with the leadoff. We'll talk a little baseball. We'll talk a little hoops with the Bucks trading back up into the second round yesterday, and of course more Giannis stuff out there too. So lots to get to here this morning. Oh, should also note the Express did pick up a win last night against Waterloo. So the Express will be back at it tonight against Waterloo before returning home to take on La Crosse. And right now, where the things are at in the standings in the Great Plains East, that La Crosse series is pretty big because you got 4 straight games against La Crosse. And right now, the Express are 4.5 games behind La Crosse for first place in the division. You got Rochester, that's 4 games back. So the Express are third, Rochester second, La Crosse in first place. But right now, when you look at in the last 10, La Crosse is playing some good baseball. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, but the Express 7-3 in their last 10 games. So should be a really good series. But got to take care of business and get that win tonight. So, but all right, let's get things going here this morning. We'll take our first break, and then coming up, we've got the leadoff. We'll talk a little Brewers baseball coming up after these quick words. Summer cookout season is here, and nobody does summer grilling better than Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. From premium steaks and fresh burgers to brats and chicken, you will find quality and value throughout the store. Before your next cookout, stop by Mike's Star Market and stock up on the freshest ingredients around. You can visit them today at 2238 Heimstead Road, and make sure you follow their Facebook page for events and special sales too. Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire, helping make every summer gathering a delicious and memorable one. All right, before we get things going here, let's say good morning to Mr. Intern Carter, who is joining us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We'll get your thoughts on Giannis and the Bucks coming up here in just a little bit. But actually, I want to kind of kick it off before we get to Brewers here, because you do some play-by-play in high school sports and that. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the shot clock for basketball?
It was needed.
Yeah?
Absolutely needed. Yeah. I mean, you get down to the end of some high school games, and they're just holding it for a minute, just passing it. So I think it's good.
I do too. I do too. I think, it's, in my opinion, it's long overdue.
Yes.
And I honestly, I think, especially when you look at, and not saying every kid's going to play college, but college has one. Pros obviously have one. I don't think it'll be that big of an adjustment for players, because I think we grow up watching it and we're familiar with it. Now it might be a bigger adjustment for coaches who like to use a lot of the clock, but I honestly don't think players will have a big, and maybe I'm just, overanalyzing or not getting enough credit. I don't think it'll be a big adjustment for players.
I think the players will like it, just again because they'll have more time if they're losing to create chaos. So.
Yeah, and they can play faster too, which is kind of the thing in basketball, right? Everybody wants to play faster and score more. Okay, so let's talk some baseball as the Brew Crew picking up a series sweep, handing the Reds last night a 6-5 loss. So Brewers taking all 3 games. They have improved to 49 and 29, 20 games over 500. Off day today for the Brewers before beginning a big series against the Chicago Cubs. But last night we had Contreras with a 2-run shot in the third. Jake Bauers come up to the plate after that, hits a solo shot to take an early 3-0 lead. The Reds were able to climb back in it and make things very interesting in the final 2 innings of play, but nonetheless, the Brewers able to get that win and to complete the sweep. So, and it's a bullpen too that's, we can use the word depleted, banged up, worked a lot. You're seeing a bunch of different guys being thrown out there, but they're grinding it through and they're getting it done. And I know yesterday, too, there was the talk that with Brandon Woodruff back in the rotation, it sounds like Robert Gasser is going to be moved to the bullpen, possibly could even still get some starts, just depending on. And I think they're going to be flexible with that depending on their schedule and off days and such. But, he definitely could potentially get another start or a few starts depending on what the schedule's like. But if you kind of look at it from a typical 5-man rotation, it seems like Robert Gasser's the guy that is going to be, moved back to the bullpen, and a guy that can give you some length too. So, but I don't know what else to kind of say from this series other than, all right, got the W, got a series sweep. You're 20 games above 500 as we approach the halfway mark. Very successful series. Right?
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The Brewers barely hit this series. They only scored 10 runs, which is low for them in a series. They didn't pitch their best pitchers. Their bullpen wasn't great, and they won all 3. And so it's such an interesting series because, again, they didn't hit well. And Mizorowski and Harrison didn't pitch, and Woodruff was coming off an injury, and they still won all 3.
And he pitched well, though.
Really well.
And Sproat pitched well, too. So
I don't know. This team may never lose again.
But, when you look at that, to find ways to win those ball games, too, you hope that would be a benefit as we, get to the postseason. We got a lot of games left to play, a half a season left. But, we talk about it a lot, I think, in football season, finding ways to win the ball game or ugly wins or or something. And you can look at this series and maybe describe it as an ugly series, for the Brewers, that there wasn't a lot of offense in the first couple games. And then, of course, last night, what happens? Both teams get 11 hits each. You kind of figured that was probably going to happen because that's sports and baseball in a nutshell. But, they found ways to win. They found ways to kind of grind it out and get the job done. And, this is going to be, I think, this is a team, that is maybe one word best to describe them: annoying. Annoying for opponents, going up against them because, they don't hit home runs, or they don't hit a lot of home runs. I know in June they were kind of still up there. But, if it's pitching one day, it might be their offense another day. They're just, how do you game plan for a team like this is probably what a lot of teams are kind of like looking at the Brewers. And I feel like if I'm looking at it from the outside, they're just an annoying team in a good way, because maybe they can win in a couple different ways or a few different ways.
And the craziest part is, like, what you're going to get from Mizorowski and Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
But then what you got from Sproat and Woodruff is, like, if they can do that, I mean, the Brewers are in an incredible spot for the postseason, but you never know what you're going to get. And so it's a wild card week in and week out. So that's why they've been so successful scoring runs this year, because they've had to. But if their pitching can pitch like they did this week, I mean, we're in a good spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we can get that version of Brandon Woodruff more times than not, I mean, then you throw him as probably your third starter behind Mizorowski and Harrison. Whew. And then you have the flexibility of whenever Logan Henderson comes back and Brandon Sproat and those guys. Now, that's assuming everybody's going to be healthy, which I know is a big assumption, but still, there's that and that's kind of something I was throwing out earlier this week. With Brandon with Brandon Woodruff coming back, too many Brandons now. But if Woodruff goes out there and he pitches well, and he pitched incredibly well, but if this is going to be kind of the way, does that alleviate or take away the need maybe to go get another starting pitcher at the trade deadline? And then you got Brandon Sproat. I know Brandon Sproat to me is still a little bit wild. He's kind of like Mizorowski from last year in terms of the consistency part. I don't know what version we're going to get, and that still kind of makes me nervous. Definitely feel more confident in Brandon Woodruff. The only thing is injuries. You don't know. He's been so banged up. So even though they pitched well, I think I'd still feel better about another starter, but maybe not a Skubal type of starter.
Yeah. It definitely alleviates a little bit of concern for me. Like you said, I still wouldn't mind going and getting a starter because, again, Woodruff just came back from an injury. You never know. And likely you're not going to get that from Sproat every start. But I think it does necessarily push a bullpen arm more important, where I think Woodruff comes back and he doesn't play well, you're almost looking for a starter because you need one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going back to Brandon Sproat and that. I was actually earlier this morning, I was flipping through some stuff, and I don't know how old this video was. I think it was just a couple days ago, but it was, Buster Olney was getting asked this question about Freddie Peralta and would he, do other teams potentially with the trade deadline coming up in August and teams looking for starting pitchers. Are teams looking at Freddie Peralta and kind of giving him a pass because it's the mess of the Mets right now? Or, would he still, get a lot in return? Would the Mets even, kind of trade him, et cetera, et cetera? He made a kind of couple of interesting points or thoughts he threw out there. One of them, which, Brewers fans probably know, he said a lot of teams just kind of view Freddie Peralta as a 5-inning guy now, maybe at best 6. He's not an ace. He's shown ace stuff, but he kind of insinuated, and he made a note. He's like, even the Brewers, he said some people in the Brewers didn't view him as an ace and kind of a back-end rotation guy. Well, you look at what the Brewers that trade now, they traded Peralta and Tobias Myers for Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams, which we haven't seen Jet Williams, but Jet Williams still a highly rated prospect. We talk a lot about the Kyle Harrison trade with Boston and that, and I know Sproat's been up and down, But right now, if you were buying stock into a pitcher for the next couple of years, Freddie Peralta or Brandon Sproat, would you feel more comfortable about Brandon Sproat or Freddie Peralta right now?
I mean, it's got to be Brandon Sproat just because of what the Brewers have been able to do with pitchers and the amount of run support he's getting right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of where Peralta struggled this year is, well, number one, Mets aren't going to steal a play.
Right.
Like the Brewers will, but he's also not getting the run support. So he allows 2 runs. Well, he still probably will take the loss. Whereas last year he allows 2 runs, he's going to get the win.
Yeah.
So that's where Sproat has it. And again, I trust the Brewers coaches to fix him. So
that's and Freddie Peralta. So Fangraphs, I just looked it up. I don't have time to read it, but the title is "The Freddie Peralta Deal Has Been a Dud for the Mets." And he's coming off of a game on Saturday where he only went 2 2/3, 10 earned runs, 10 hits. He's 5-6 with a 4.83 ERA at this point in time. So it's like, is that the Mets thing? Because we saw Devin Williams, in New York with the Yankees and that. But is this another example of a guy that for a long time in Milwaukee in a smaller market, more successful there than when you go to the big stage, the pressure, it's completely different. Is it something with that? I don't know. But maybe it's just another example of Matt Arnold in this front office kind of knowing what they're doing. And maybe when we get to this trade deadline, do we give them the benefit of the doubt if they don't make that big move, if they don't make that move for Skubal, if they don't do this or that? You look at some of the moves that they have made over the last couple of years, especially this past offseason with Harrison and dealing Peralta in that. Should we give him the benefit of the doubt more? I mean, we're all going to probably be still annoyed, like, oh, I wish they would have gotten another bat, and that. But, I mean, at what point do we just like, yeah, okay, if he doesn't do anything, cool, I trust him because it seems like all the other moves that they make have worked out more times than not.
And that's true. When you get to the postseason, now it's time you can't get swept by the Dodgers.
Right.
And so you can win as many games as you want right now, and you can leave this roster in place for the regular season, but it better be a roster that can win in the postseason.
And maybe that's not to be over dramatic, but is Matt Arnold a good regular season general manager?
Yeah. Yeah.
We hear that phrase. He's a good, or they're a good regular season team, but they're not a good postseason team. Well, I mean, can you argue against that too? Am I wrong? Here you go. Am I wrong? Is Matt Arnold a really good regular season GM, but postseason GM? Up in the air?
I think so because and last year was a success because you beat the Cubs. You got out of the first round, you got to the second round. But this year you got to take a step against the Dodgers, so you can't get swept. I don't even know if it's okay to lose, but I'm going to give that room because the Dodgers have such a good roster. But you have to be able to compete with them for a 7-game series like you didn't last year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that is just staying put where your roster is right now. And that's the decision he's got to make. But we can't get swept out of the postseason again by the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting. The more that the Brewers continue to rack up wins and, if they continue to climb up 25, 26, 27 games, whatever their record's going to be when we get closer to the trade deadline, like 26 games above 500 or whatever, it's going to be interesting to see that it's a tough decision. I almost feel like it's a tougher decision as a general manager the higher you are up in a win-loss column as you approach the trade deadline, because I think then you have to ask yourself, how much do I want to mess with a good thing? Mm-hmm. I almost feel it's easier if you're hovering around that line, like we're trying to get in the postseason where you can be uber aggressive. Because, let's say at the trade deadline, they're 26 games above 500. They're in first place. They've got like a 7-game lead in the division. How much do you want to tinker with that to mess that up? I honestly feel like that's a tougher decision to make as a general manager than as opposed to like, okay, we got to make a move just to, make sure that we get to the postseason.
And I think that's partly because, like, let's say the Brewers traded somebody on their MLB team, and then all of a sudden the chemistry's gone. Well, your team went from 7 games up in the division to 3 because you lost all the chemistry with one trade. Or you do trade somebody in your minor league system. Like if they trade for Skubal and all of a sudden he tears his UCL because he's got elbow problems, well then, like now you're screwed because you traded some good prospects and likely a pitcher that's been in the MLB for a guy that's you're not going to get anymore.
Right.
And I think that's where the hard part comes in for him, is trying to figure out what move can really get us over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a pitcher? Is it a bat? And that's the hard part. I'm glad I'm not in his shoes.
Yeah, same here. We like to pretend to play it, but in real life, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. But all right, we got to take a quick break. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more Brewers talk, though. You can hit us up 715-830-1912. We'll be right back after these few words. Summer puts your vehicle to the test, and AJM Automotive is ready to help you pass that test. With 2 convenient Eau Claire locations, AJM Automotive can handle everything from oil changes and inspections to brakes, tires, and major repairs. So before your next road trip, make sure your vehicle is ready for wherever summer takes you. You can trust the team at AJM Automotive. 2 locations, 1 commitment, and that's keeping you safely on the road all summer long. We got a quick text on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Says from C-Bomb, exactly why I want to see them get I think you mean Scooble, not Skeens. Because, I mean, if that was Skeens, that would be okay. I'll take that. But I think you mean Scooble and not Skeens. The Brewers have proven they can run a marathon year after year. They prove they cannot sprint. The postseason is a sprint. They need to be able to win the 2-1 games if we truly want to see a World Series. How much would you be willing to give up to go for it? It's time to go for it. I think, though, that's part of the risk, though, too, is that's not a guarantee, right? And that's why I keep going back and forth to the whole. I think it's an interesting comparison between the Bucks and the Brewers, because I do think you can make the case that the Bucks were very uber aggressive in trying to go for it how many times with Giannis on the team. They got 1. But after that, things really started to fall apart. And you can look at a different thing, all the other factors into it. But from a roster standpoint, from a construction standpoint, I don't think you can make the case that the Bucks at least didn't try to be uber aggressive in trying to get multiple championships with Giannis. Were they the right moves? Obviously not. But they tried. So we see where the situation is with the Bucks. They did get 1. But it was very close to not even going to the final. And they even dropping the first 2 in the finals, if you remember right. So, I mean, that would be the risk if you were to attempt to go for it. It's not a for sure thing. If you give up a lot, you might be, well, we're back to rebuilding for another couple of years. So would you rather be, it goes back to the question, I think, from a fan standpoint. Would you rather be competitive year in and year out? And once you get to the postseason, there's a little bit of luck involved and you try to take your chances, or do you go uber aggressive? Everybody's going to be different at that point.
Yep, and like we talked about, I think last week, a lot of baseball is getting hot and getting healthy. And going into the series last year, the Dodgers were getting hot and getting healthy.
Yeah.
And the Brewers had just come off an emotional win against the Cubs in a Game 5 win or go home. Mm-hmm. And I think it took some out of them. I also think this year's team, in my opinion, is a little better than last year's team, pitching staff-wise. And pitching didn't lose us the series last year. A lot of it was our offense. And you don't really know what you're going to get from your offense until you get to the postseason because we're such a good regular season team. But, is a pitcher needed with this year's? That's kind of the question, because this pitching staff is better than last year, and last year kept us in the Dodgers series. Mm-hmm. So, do we need a bat because that's what would have helped last year? Or should we just scrap last year and go into this year saying we need an arm?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think that's a good point. So, but I think it's almost, and here's my thing too, and I know fans aren't going to like this, but I honestly feel like it's a big reason. If you look at Milwaukee and you look at the money, the payroll, the market size, what's better for them from a business standpoint? Is it remaining competitive and being a perennial playoff contender? Or is it attempting to be uber aggressive one year, going all for it, knowing that, okay, if we don't, we're going to give up a lot and we may suffer from a win-loss standpoint for the next few years? Fans don't like that. But from a business standpoint, if you're the Brewers, what's better for business? It's being competitive every single year, getting some postseason games and extending your season, right? I mean, I don't think I'm wrong in saying that's from a small market standpoint, that's probably better for them. Higher paid teams like the Mets, they stink this year. They may reset for a year, but then they're going to spend more money, right? I mean, that we've seen that. What was it, just a couple years ago? They spent all that money like on Verlander and Scherzer, and it didn't work. And, well, they keep spending money because they keep trying and they keep trying and they keep trading and that. Brewers can't do that. And, again, fans don't want to hear that, but I really believe that's a big part of it, too, is that from a business standpoint, it's remaining competitive, and you're hoping to. Yes, they want to win. I truly believe Mark Ananasio wants to win a World Series, and that Matt Arnold wants to win a World Series. They all want to win a World Series, but they're also looking at it from a long-term perspective and business perspective too. That, okay, it's best for us to remain competitive, to try to win this way. It might put us in a little bit of a disadvantage because we're not going to be extra aggressive in that. But I do think that's part of the thinking in this thing.
And I also think some of the draw for the Brewers is the young players that they have that you would have to trade. I mean, in the next 2-3 years, you could see Jesus Mate and Andrew Fisher in the MLB. Mm-hmm. And that'll just be electric because those players are incredible. And so I think that's part of the draw for a team like the Brewers because, I mean, Logan Henderson's fun to watch, and he's a young pitcher. So I think they would rather have their young players rather than trade and go, quote-unquote, all in for a player that may work, may not. Mm-hmm. So, and I know more guys are proven than Peralta, but just look at what the Mets did. They went all in. They went and got their guy, and it's turned out awful. So you never know how a trade's going to work. Now, obviously, if the Brewers acquire Skubal, it's a little different because he's the second best pitcher in the league, probably. One of the best. I'm not going to say second. One of the best. So there's that. But it's a risk. Everything's a risk when you trade young prospects for a player, especially a rental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't even add anything to it. That's, completely agree. So I still don't think they're going to do anything. No. Especially the more they win I think that actually hurts the chances of them. It's almost a double-edged sword. The more they win, the less likely I think that they're going to make a move, especially from a pitching standpoint. If they're still healthy, if they suffer a big injury, knock on wood, to Miz or Harrison, then I think that changes the conversation. Mm-hmm. I truly think that changes the conversation. But at this point, let's not. I think the Skubal train is not going to happen. Mm-mm. And then you look at the bats available. I don't want them to make a move just to make a move either. Yeah. I don't want that. I don't want to have the conversation. Okay, is this guy truly better than what we? I don't want that. I don't want it. Given some of the guys that are reportedly out there, I'd rather have Jet Williams.
Exactly.
I don't want to move just to make a move either.
Yeah.
That's no.
Don't trade a top prospect for Isaac Paredes. We don't need that guy at third base for the Brewers.
Right. I think there's better options with that. Okay. Tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. I should bring this up here, too. Little Tom Brady giving a little cred to Aaron Charles Rodgers. I don't know if anybody else heard what he had to say, but I kind of want to dive into this here in a little bit, but have some fun with this topic. But we'll get to that later. We got some hoops chat as well, plenty more baseball. We're going to take a quick break as we wrap up the first hour already on this Thursday morning. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Summer road trips create some great memories, but sometimes accidents do happen. If a fender bender puts a dent into your plans, you can trust Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire to get your vehicle looking like new again. Their experienced team provides quality collision repair and attention to detail that helps restore your vehicle and your peace of mind. When life bumps into your vehicle, count on our friends at Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, our official Backyard Dreams partners, and a big-time congrats to Superior Auto Body because today is their 1-year anniversary of new ownership with the team over there with Nick and Jen. So big-time congrats to them. We got about 10 minutes left to the top of the hour. So let's just switch gears here a little bit. And usually when we bring in a Packer thing, I don't want to force feed Packer stuff and that. But when it comes to a little bit of a nugget, usually, especially when it involves Aaron Rodgers, it may involve some takes from people. But Tom Brady said on a podcast episode recently of Stick to Football, he was asked about greatest passer in football history. He said, quote, "I love Aaron. I think there's no greater passer of the football than Aaron Rodgers. You see everyone do it, and then you see one person throw the ball that much better. Aaron Rodgers was incredible. It's hard to put into words how incredible he passes the ball. The way it comes out of his hand, the way that it spins and delivers with the pace and with the accuracy. It's like a bullet. There's only probably 3 people in the history of the NFL that could do it like him." Honestly, I think we've kind of said this for how many years that he's the greatest passer of the football. And I will admit it too, I think we got to a point we maybe took it for granted what we were witnessing and watching. And I think that's natural and a lot when we get, so used to some of his throws or so used to his play for how many years. I think it's natural for fans to maybe take it for granted a little bit. But then when you kind of look back at it, it's like, yeah, that dude could really flick a pigskin. Like Uncle Rico would be jealous of him from Napoleon Dynamite. So, I mean, I can't really, go through the history of football and the better passers. I mean, you talk about the thing about Rodgers too, that is, and this is where I kind of wanted to go with it a little bit. I think people need to give a ton of credit to one Michael McCarthy, because when Aaron Rodgers came into the NFL, he had that Jeff Tedford holding the ball up to his ear hole and by his helmet, just this awkward-looking thing. McCarthy gets his hands on him, lowers the football, does this quarterback school that McCarthy is known for, works with him, and McCarthy's got quite the lineage of quarterbacks that he has worked with, from Joe Montana, Favre, Rodgers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think I will make the case, I will continue to make this case for the rest of my life, that yes, Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest passers that we've ever seen, but a lot of that credit should go to Mike McCarthy for, all right, this is what he's doing. We got to break it down and we got to change it. We got to change some of the fundamentals. We got to change some of the mechanics. Let's give tip of the cap to Michael McCarthy for how he kind of molded Aaron Rodgers too.
And it worked. So,
yeah,
I mean, got a Super Bowl out of it. So it was always fun to watch Aaron Rodgers play. And I mean, it still is. Such a good, pure passer. And it looks so effortlessly when he does it. That's the crazy part.
It's like a flick of the wrist,
He'll,
right?
He'll throw like 60-something yards, and it's like he wasn't even trying. So, I mean, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of us wish we could do that. It's almost like watching a quarterback throw. I'll put it in this, like a really good quarterback throw football, I think for a lot of people is watching a golf swing with a pro golfer. Because I think a lot of people, maybe first time they go golfing or they don't go golfing a lot, what do they have this mindset of? I got to swing hard. I got to go up there and I got to grip it and rip it. But the great golf swings and the solid golfers, it's a smooth, it looks effortless, right? don't watch Tiger Woods some of the times on the driver, but some of those Ernie Els, the older golfers, the smooth weight transfer swing. Aaron Rodgers throwing a football is like that for me, because when I'm trying to sit there and throw a football, I'm like loading up and he's just like flick, flick, flick. That it's kind of like watching a perfect golf swing. Mm-hmm. Watching a guy like Aaron Rodgers, or a lot of these quarterbacks, chuck a football 60 yards, 70 yards down the field, and I'm just happy if I can throw a spiral 15 yards, in front of me. And maybe it's because I have smaller hands than quarterbacks too, but still, yeah. So let's give another cred to Mike McCarthy for that. Because I think a lot of people forget when Aaron Rodgers came in, like his rookie card, I think one of his rookie cards, he's holding that football up to his ear hole. Like, you never see that. And yeah, to be able, and think about it, for a player too, and credit to Rodgers, for a player though, he was successful in college with it. That made him a first-round pick. And it's probably, at that point, second nature to him, right? Mm-hmm. You get to a point where it's just to not do that anymore. It takes a little bit. So
he's the greatest passer of the Hail Mary ever.
Mm-hmm. That perfect, and he talks about it too. That perfect like dime and how it falls down, and yeah. But that's where, yeah, I'll be watching a little more Steelers this year, just because it's gonna be the end of an era, like it was with Giannis this year, which we'll talk a little bit more about coming up into the next hour too. So, but yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool quote from Brady, talking about Brady is the GOAT, and this goes again, I think, to the conversation of like, what do you define as the best player at that position? Aaron's, and I think Brady would agree, Aaron's more talented from a physical, standpoint, but Brady's the GOAT because of, and it's not, and I don't want to paint the picture that Brady wasn't talented at all. Mm-hmm. He was a pretty good thrower. That you get the ball out quick and that, but you add championships to the resume too. So,
and I think, not to cut on Brady at all. He's an incredible player, but I think if Rodgers had the defense of Brady, he would win more rings. If he had some of the weapons, he would win more rings. And I know he had some good weapons. But take Kevin King off the roster, we probably go to the Super Bowl. So Rodgers has all the physical talent and all, mentally too. You just look at Rodgers controlling the line of scrimmage. He can call out the coverage before the ball is snapped, and the subtle hints that he used to throw at players like Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams. And James Jones is so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. That's why I go back to the whole debate whether, wins are a quarterback stat or not. Because I think, honestly, if you put everything's the same and you put in Aaron Rodgers, swipe him out for Tom Brady, Rodgers probably has a few rings, right? I think that's fair. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. And I just think we focus, and I get it, quarterback is the most important position in sports, and especially, football. You got to have a quarterback to win. But there's also 50 some other players on that team that have to help you get to that goal. And competent coaches and play callers too. So there's a lot that goes into that.
I think you could flip Rodgers and Brady's entire career to opposite teams, and he'd probably end up in the same situation. Rodgers would then be where Brady's at, and Brady would be where Rodgers at.
Mm. Yeah.
So maybe he retired, but
you just kind of wonder what some of the numbers would look like for Rodgers from an offensive standpoint. But
if he got to play with a guy like Randy Moss, dude, that would be so fun to watch.
Oh, that's a nice what if. So, but all right, just a minute left before the shot clock cuts us off. So we'll get back to some more Brewers talk. Send us your 3 ups, 3 downs. What are 3 things that are rising, 3 things that are falling? Kind of some stock reports. You can let us know. We'll get to a little more hoops talk. If you had a chance to read that beefy piece from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel about Giannis, give me your thoughts on it. It's well worth the read. It's well worth $1 to read if you got to sign up. That's what I did yesterday. I signed up and paid $1 to read it. So well worth it. We'll go through some of the stuff that kind of stood out and that, but yeah, so we'll hit that up. Also, send me your questions for Jake, our DNR Warden buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes. He'll be joining us at 8:30 to answer your outdoor-related questions. And won't have one for next week, so if you have any questions for the 4th of July, send them on over right now. Get a head start. Because believe it or not, it is the 4th already next week. Man, that's kind of weird to think about. But all right, shot clock's going to cut me off. We got some news updates, and we'll be back to kick off the second hour on this Thursday morning. Coming up after these quick words. All right, second hour, kick it off right now on this Thursday morning of June 25th. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your starts. We've got Jake Boakes answering your questions. So hit us up with any questions that you may have for Jake. Text them on over 715-830-1037. 1912. We'll get to those coming up in just a little while. So got that. What else we got? We're going to get back to some more Brewers talk coming up here too. So we'll kind of recap the series sweep from the Brew Crew and maybe kind of take a look ahead to the Cubs series here a little bit too. But I want to talk some hoops. And since it's the first time, we got intern Carter joining us. Were you surprised at all that they moved? Were you not surprised? Okay, so, I mean, we've been talking about this for how long? Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? What's going on here? And, well, what was your first reaction when you heard the news?
I was sad. And, it's kind of like for me, he's brought the only championship that in my lifetime that I've seen to the Wisconsin area. And he was just such a fun player to watch. And it was weird because, like, you obviously knew he was going to get traded, likely. And I had been a guy who said he should get traded just because he wanted to leave. He wasn't all in, and the Bucks needed to move on. But it still was different when it's done. Like, you can lead up to it with a different mindset, but then it happens, you're like, oh, he's he's actually gone. And so, you start scrolling on social media, getting all the Bucks edits with him winning the championship, and it was like, I'm going to miss having him in a Bucks jersey. So that was kind of my first reaction to this move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a wave of emotions, relief, in an essence of, okay, we don't have to wonder or talk about it anymore. Sadness because I'm not going to flip and see Giannis in a Bucks uniform anymore. Mixed in with a little anger to it too. So I'm sure a lot of people had, and probably filled with questions of like, why did we get to this point, or how did we get to this point? And I think if you're still kind of wondering that, do yourself a favor and go check out, pay the $1 if you have to, Jim Ozarski's piece on the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And we kind of touched on some of the highlights of it yesterday, but I was able to finally sit down and read it. It is a beefy piece, but he does a really nice job of breaking it down from a timeline perspective, kind of from championship to where we're at now. And he talked to former Bucks players like Jay Crowder's on there quoted, Pat Connaughton's quoted, other people who didn't want to be quoted because they didn't want to get fired. So, I mean, it's a very well written piece, timeline piece of how we kind of got to this point. And I'm sure, like everybody and like everything, we want to point the blame, right? Like, who's more to blame from this? And if I'm being honest, I don't think it's just one person that you can blame. The thing that I got out of it, reading it, is you can really point to different instances where everybody's to blame. How is Giannis to blame? Well, it sure seems like this was a guy, and I think you've seen a lot of athletes, players, people do this. They have that success. They know that they are the franchise player. They want to have some say. But then that say, their decisions, you kind of see it doesn't work out. And I kind of got the sense of, okay, got a little greedy, but then really regretted some of the stuff. He wanted Dame, but you can't keep Drew and Dame. Yep. And I don't think he kind of, like, oh, you're trading Drew? Well, if we got to get another scorer, we got to give up something. Okay, it's like trying to explain to Hudson Still this Giannis thing. He's like, well, how come they didn't get Bam, or how come they didn't get? That's not how that works. In trades like that. It's not Madden, right? Where he could play Madden and acquire all these different players. So that's the sense. I think even from a coaching side, it talked about Budenholzer and how guys were kind of getting frustrated towards the end of Budenholzer's career, and it was funny because Giannis has regrets about Budenholzer leaving. There a quote that he said, Giannis told the Journal-Sentinel if he were to ever become a head coach, he would adopt Budenholzer's ethos. Quote, I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm changing nothing. Coach Bud, he knew how to create a culture 1,000%. It's the greener grass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and yes, Giannis was a guy that was pushing for Adrian Griffin, and there's a lot of details on that, how that spiraled out of control really quick. So it gave me the sense of, okay, Giannis got a little greedy, maybe a little impatient at times, and wanted this right away, wanted to change right away, wanted to do this, wanted to do this. And then it got to be too much at once almost, and a lot of regret after that. So I look at that, Giannis, okay, he's got a little bit of a hand in this too. Ownership, just boneheaded decisions. Lack of communication. The big thing on this whole thing is nobody talked enough.
Mm-hmm.
No communication. Like ownership, Giannis, coaching, GM, you're all on the same team and you should be on the same team. And it's like they operated in separate ways instead of coming together for the common goal. But ownership was stupid decisions. Griffin and Rivers were, from what I read in there, brutal hires, more than just brutal, like what I originally thought. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was worse from a player standpoint within that locker room. It sure seemed like some of the players were just clamoring for leadership and accountability and kind of, a guy that was going to be, lack of a better word, a hard butt, like kind of what Budenholzer was. And it's just, it got to a point, it spiraled out of control, that this probably is the best decision for all parties, is separate, because it got to a point where nobody's talking to each other and there's animosity and there's all this other stuff. I still don't feel great, if anything, about the vision of this ownership group. That doesn't give me any confidence. It's just, boy, you can make the case that everybody had a little bit of a hand in the pot of making it what it got to, but it was just lack of communication was the biggest thing. And I think not setting boundaries in certain areas too, just not setting boundaries. And Milwaukee's not the only one that's done it. Other teams have done this where they let superstar players have a say, or, you cater a lot to these players and such to make them happy. And I think the NBA is probably the one sport that does that more than anything, because, well, look what happened. You got a guy that, your superstar threatens to leave and he can have that sway. But sounds like you read the piece. What were some of your takeaways from it? It
was incredible. I mean, the fact that they kept some of the stuff in this article quiet is incredible to me. I mean, players were yelling at each other, and they kept that quiet. I mean, I didn't know about that till now. So I think that was insane. Impatient is the perfect word for this whole sequence for the Bucks, because I think just reading it, Giannis got a little, like you said, impatient that the Bucks weren't winning. So then he wanted Bud fired, but then he wanted to be a part of the coaching search, and that was an awful hire. But it kind of started the collapse. I mean, firing Bud started this downhill rolling stone that you couldn't stop.
Yeah.
That it eventually led to the trade of Giannis. And I think what I saw in there is a lot of ownerships making these decisions.
Yeah.
John Horst isn't making a lot of these decisions. Ownership advocated to go with Giannis's idea for Adrian Griffin. Ownership then advocated to fire him and then ownership said hire Doc Rivers.
Yep.
And so right now, John Horst is kind of a pawn. I mean, the ownership's telling him what to do, and he's just doing it. And I think that's when you get to a scary part, because when your owners start being the GM, it usually doesn't go well. So that was the first thing I saw. And then the other thing, I just think Giannis started almost not necessarily becoming a bad teammate, but almost prioritizing winning over chemistry and over anything else that it took to win. He just wanted to get there without having the process to get there.
Yeah.
Without doing any of the small things to win. And I think he kind of got the wake-up call, because maybe it was a little bit of Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton when we won the championship doing the little things for him.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was going to do that now.
It felt like he needs somebody to keep him in check.
Yeah. Yep.
Because there was that part in there too where, he'd be on a visiting court talking to a former coach and vocally saying he knew how to get me the ball. And I feel like he needs that person or teammates. And they mentioned Middleton was kind of the Giannis whisperer. You wouldn't think a guy who's been in the league for 13, but it kind of seems that way. That, hey, dude, take a step back, that sort of thing. And I know he talked about wanting a coach to have that relationship like Phil Jackson. There's only one Phil Jackson to begin with, but everybody wants that. Everybody strives for that. So I think he could have had that, honestly, with Coach Budenholzer.
Yep.
I really do. And it was a risk to fire him. Yes, we could see some things and guys weren't kind of buying in, but that's where I almost put that on players. Where they were saying Coach Bud was being a little too strict and, made some errors in game planning and such. Yeah, I probably. But that's almost where's the player leadership then in that? To take some accountability from that. It's just, there was a lot to digest in that thing.
Well, especially the being too strict. I hate that because then they went and hired A.J. Griffin and he just let the players do whatever they want. And that's not going to work either. You needed the strictness, especially if your superstar has to take orders from Chris Middleton. I mean, you need that structure. You need that discipline in order to win. And you saw that with Coach Bud, and you saw what's happened after. They don't play defense, and they just shoot threes now.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't work.
No.
You need the discipline. You need everything that Coach Bud provided. And look what happened now.
Yeah. And I remember the talk during that championship year, and it was kind of mentioned in there too that ownership almost fired Bud right before the championship, which thank gosh they didn't do that part because who knows where they would have been after that. It might be in a worse situation. If anything, I think this article, the person that's probably the happiest about this piece has got to be Mike Budenholzer.
Yeah.
That like he comes out of this thing like, hey, he's probably the one that even Pat Connaughton talked about if, glowing like if he had to read, if there was anything he learned in that, he'd take a lot from the Budenholzer era. And he's probably the only person that comes out of this thing like looks a lot better than what he got credit for or didn't get credit for in this.
The problem is those guys will say that now, but you go back, they're probably advocating for him to be let go because his discipline. So that's kind of the hard part. Like you said, grass is always greener, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, and in this scenario, it definitely wasn't with Adrian Griffin.
I feel like a lot of coaches, whether it's the NBA, NFL, we hear this a lot too with a disciplinarian type coach or a player-friendly coach. You have one, and a lot of times when you make a coaching change, you kind of go in the opposite direction. So if you had a very disciplinary coach, you might go to a players-friendly coach. And then when that wears out, you go back to a disciplinary coach. So I feel coaches are really in a bind a lot because if that's their style, they may not last that long.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe that's what happened with Coach Bud. When you go to a team that, okay, they need some what's the word I'm looking for? Discipline. All right, let's bring in Bud. That might only last for a couple years. It's just it's kind of like Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's a very hard coach, only has a short rotation, short fuse, and that's why he only lasts a few years for every team. But that's where it makes coaches like Phil Jackson, I think, makes the case that why he's probably, in my opinion, the best NBA coach of all time because of you have to adapt to, I think, as a really good coach, as a top-tier coach. It's not just about winning. You have to adapt to the people that you have. So could Bud have done some things differently? Probably. Mm-hmm. I think one thing coaches do is they get stuck in their ways. They try to, this is my way or the highway. Well, okay, let's talk. Let's figure out some common ground. I'm still the boss, and I'm still making the decisions here. But I also look at the players. You got to respect your coach, too. I look at Michael Jordan. Respect the heck out of Phil. If you haven't watched The Last Dance, I mean, Doug Collins was his guy. That was his coach. And then they fired him to bring in Phil Jackson, and Michael wasn't. And this was before Michael was Michael, right? But there's even other points where, when Dennis Rodman wants to take a vacation during the season. And Michael's like, no, if anybody deserves vacation, it's me. Phil gave Dennis Rodman a vacation. But there was that mutual trust between player, superstar, and coach and all that, where that it also, it's a two-way street, I think, for coach and superstar players, or coach and players, to have that mutual respect. And I think too many times coaches or players or both of them they don't work on that aspect.
And I think Giannis is going to get a chance to go back, because he's going to get to play with Eric Spoelstra, and Spoelstra's not going to let everything go around. Giannis is going to have to stick to their plan.
Yep.
He's going to get that hard-nosed guy again, and we're going to get to see how he kind of fits in with that system again.
And the last piece of the article, it sounds like Giannis wants to come back to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, is he referring to getting back to a championship, or is he referring to getting back to Milwaukee? And I think it's getting back to Milwaukee, because he said, quote, "Some way, somehow, I have to get there again." He told the Journal-Sentinel, "It doesn't necessarily have to be with me being the main guy and all that. If it is me, great, but I want to be there again. If that's going to be me being there as a role player, if that's going to be me being there as a fifth option, if that's going to be me being there as a number one guy that takes them there, I don't give two blanks. I want to get there again." So that almost fits the narrative that I saw over the weekend, that Giannis wants to stay in Milwaukee, but he doesn't want to play for the Bucks.
Yeah.
Right? I think he wants to play but not with how it's currently set up.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, maybe he does pull a Kevin Garnett, or, at the back end of his career and such. So maybe a nice little wrap up to his season. But definitely worth the read. Takes a little bit, but definitely worth the read. And I think it's, honestly, I feel like this stuff goes on more than maybe what we know. And we've seen instances of this before. We've seen it with the Packers, for sure, with quarterbacks. But I think this is just another case study where egos got in the way.
Yep.
Communication then went to the wayside, and it got to where it's almost like college sports. They opened up the dam, and you can't close it anymore.
Yep.
It got to be too much, and you can't go back. And it stinks, and it sucks.
Yep.
So, all right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more, though, coming up after these few words. Summer is here, and that means it is the perfect time to give your home a fresh new look with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire. Whether you are updating a family room, finishing a basement, refreshing a bedroom, or you're finally tackling that remodeling project you have been putting off, Carpet City Flooring Center has the flooring options you're looking for. From beautiful luxury vinyl planks like the Ridge and Max flooring to carpet, tile, and more, you will find quality products and expert guidance every single step of the way. Their experienced team will help you find the right flooring to fit your style, your budget, and, well, what looks the best in your space. And with the professional installation available, your project can be completed quickly and correctly. Make this summer the summer you transform your home. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today and discover why so many area homeowners trust Carpet City Flooring Center for all of their flooring needs. Carpet City Flooring Center, helping you love where you live. Adrian Griffin, too, is he like even an assistant anywhere at this point? Not to keep harping on this, but maybe he's just sitting back and still cashing checks from Milwaukee, but I don't think he's coaching anywhere.
I don't believe so.
And like, I know he had a winning record when he was let go, but that piece almost insinuates, were they winning because of him, or were they winning because the players were doing their own thing, right? I mean, they were drawing up the plays. They were doing, I think there was a quote in there saying, we'll just figure it out. Like one of the players said, we're just going to figure it out on the court ourselves. Like it honestly, I think it paints a really bad picture. Doc Rivers is in the Hall of Fame, but I think that also piece really does not do a very good PR image of him. I know he's won a bunch of games in that, but I mean, okay, that was Boston, really. I don't want to give it away a whole lot because I think Bucks fans should really, sports fans should actually read it and just kind of maybe get a good glimpse of what the heck happened.
The fact that they went 30-13 with this guy as their head coach, pretty much no head coach, is incredible. Mm-hmm. That means they were a really good team.
Yeah.
And then Doc Rivers came in and it got worse. And I'm sure that was probably because they kind of relied on his coaching and stopped trying to coach themselves. But it's incredible to me that they went 30-13 with Adrian Griffin as their head coach.
Yeah. The piece really starts to, I kind of want to know who that person was, but it started off, Giannis was in the locker room when they were playing the Suns this year, and he was all smiles and that, but then they said a senior official walked in and that mood instantly changed for Giannis. I want to know who that official was. Was it one of the owners or what? But you could definitely tell there was some major animosity between all sides. But we could say that this should be a learning lesson for teams, and no, it'll continue. There will be more examples of this across any sport, any league, any team. It's just the way things are right now.
Especially with how much coaches change. I mean, the Bucks are paying 3 head coaches right now.
I don't know if there still are or not, but yeah, I mean, Doc still is under contract. I think they finally paid off Bud.
Finally.
But yeah, the Griffin,
Taylor
Jenkins,
think,
yeah.
and Taylor Jenkins. So yeah. They were paying 3 last year. They're still paying 3. Head coaches change so much. So, like you said, it'll happen again.
It will. But it's a shame. It sucks. It stinks. Because I truly believe Giannis wanted to play his whole career here. Mm-hmm. And it so much just happened that it honestly feels like it's probably best for both sides. It stinks as a fan because we don't get to see our superstar continue to play in a Bucks uniform. But okay, let me throw out a fun question. Wisconsin sports fans, who would you like to see for their legacies win another championship? Rodgers or Giannis?
With the different team, I'm assuming?
Yes. Would you? So let's assume it stinks, but let's assume Green Bay will not win the Super Bowl this year. We know this is Rodgers' final year. Well, that's what he says. Would you like to see, and whose legacy? I think Rodgers' legacy will probably be boosted more with another championship.
Yeah.
But from a personal standpoint, who would you like to see win another championship? Is it Giannis or Rodgers on a different team?
I'd rather see Rodgers. I think I grew up watching Rodgers. I'm also just more invested in football. And
yeah,
I think that's kind
fair.
of part of it.
Yep.
Just Rodgers has always been one of my favorite players. He's been my favorite quarterback for a long time. So I'd rather see Rodgers.
I mean, it's the cool story of Pittsburgh because it's Mike McCarthy on there too. Now, I think Giannis is going to have the better chance to win one.
Yeah.
But that's not the question. I just feel there's something about an NFL quarterback. If you win 2 Super Bowls, you get put into another level. Because I think and I've said this before, I think it's based off of one word. You can use the word multiple. Well, he has won multiple Super Bowls instead of he only won 1 Super Bowl. Might be 2, but multiple sounds better than 2, right? It's kind of the Peyton Manning thing. Peyton Manning needed 1 more to really kind of, and I don't know if that was because Eli won 2, but that's where it feels like it started. As soon as Peyton got that second one, it's like, oh, he's won multiple Super Bowls now. It's not 1 anymore. It feels like you have to have 2 as a great quarterback, and maybe that's also because Tom Brady won more than anybody's going to win, and Patrick Mahomes already has a few rings. But I think that line has moved up from got to win 1 to at least 2. As hard as it is, I think quarterbacks now, it's like you got to win 2 if you want to be considered an upper echelon all-time great. Because if Rodgers wins another one, even if it's at the back end of his career, I think he is probably more consistently in a top 10 ranking of quarterbacks all time. I think he's top 15, 20 for a lot of people, but if he adds another Super Bowl, he would be put in there.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis, I don't want to say NBA doesn't value championships from individual teams, but I feel like that's not as big of a accolade for a lot of the players. And is that because it's more of an individualized sport?
Maybe. I think, we talked about the GOAT debate a little bit ago.
But then that's where everybody goes with Jordan over LeBron, too.
It is, but at the same time, it's both, right? Because Bill Russell
has 11
and is not even considered.
Yeah.
So it's a little of both, I think, in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I almost feel like NBA is MVPs at this point.
Yeah.
It's like the individual awards with that. I want both of them, but I think maybe it's still just too raw for me, but I'd probably go Rodgers too. But I want Green Bay to win it before Rodgers does.
Yes.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more, though. Give us your 3 ups and 3 downs. What are 3 things that are up? What are 3 things that are down? We'll be back after these few words. Summer is here, and that means it is time to hit the road in something that you love. At Toyson Ford, they will find a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles ready for every adventure. Looking for some power, comfort, reliability? They've got it all, backed by a team that's committed to making your car buying experience easy and stress-free. So whether it's a weekend getaway or your daily drive, make sure that you are riding in style this summer. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, where your next journey begins. We got a few picks for Rogers to win another championship. If you had to pick one former, I'm trying. There's not really a former Brewer I would probably put in that category, unless like Yelich went somewhere. But that's yeah. I don't think anybody's rooting for Freddie, no offense, or Willie Adames at this point. Willie might be the closest, but I wouldn't put it in the category of Rogers and Giannis. So, but yeah, I still have my questions about how good the Heat are going to be this year. Anyways, we'll see. Yeah, but all right, back to a little baseball here as the Brewers last night picked up a 6-5 victory against the Cincinnati Reds. Shane Drone went 4 1/3, 5 hits, 3 walks, 5 Ks. So if Robert Gasser is going to the bullpen, you got Miz, which, by the way, with this Cubs series coming up, I'm so glad it worked out that it's Miz, Harrison, and Woodruff pitching in that series. But Miz, Harrison, Woodruff, Brandon Sprout. I'm a little surprised they didn't move Shane Drone back to the bullpen.
Yep.
Right? I mean, he was really good in the month of May when he was pitching out of the bullpen. He had like a 1-point-something ERA in how many appearances. So I'm a little surprised they're going that route. But maybe that also means when Logan Henderson, he's the replacement for Logan Henderson because it sounds like he's getting a little bit closer to return. It sounds like Jared Koenig could return to the team for this weekend, which would be a nice added boost to that bullpen, especially the back end of the bullpen, because I think, well, you were kind of one of them too, and I know Zach on our video stream talked about maybe getting a little nervous with how much the bullpen has been kind of taxed and used in that. But you would think Jared Koenig coming back is going to be a nice boost for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It will help. I think, and it especially surprises me that Gasser's going to the bullpen just because he's been good recently. Mm-hmm. He's kind of figured it out a little bit, and Shane Drone was so good out of the pen. But you're probably right. Where once Logan Henderson comes back, Gasser probably goes back to AAA, and then Drone does go back to the bullpen. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I know Henderson just, I think, had another bullpen session, but I would imagine he's probably going to get a couple rehab starts at AAA or Appleton or wherever, just to get back. So, but, it says he'll go 2 or 3 ups on Sunday. I didn't realize he's also been out since April. Mm-hmm. So it's been a while for Logan Henderson, too. But Brewers, says from Brewers.com, Adam McCulvey, they should be much better equipped for Friday's showdown with the Cubs with Trevor McGill, Abner Uribe, and Ashby all available again, and Jared Koenig expected back from the injured list. Looks like Craig Yoho is being sent back down because he was packing up late Wednesday. So, and, well, he did not have a great performance yesterday. So, that's one guy, I mean, during the Mizorowski AAA run, you kept hearing about Craig Yoho too, and I don't. He seemed to be a guy that was skyrocketing too, and it's been really quiet now surrounding him. Yet getting some time this year, but the way he was trending a couple years ago, I kind of thought he'd be a fixture in that bullpen at this point. But it's been a little inconsistent at this point.
I think he's one of the first pitchers that I've heard of that was a top prospect pitching wise for Brewers and hasn't panned out. Mm-hmm. Like that surprises me.
From a consistency standpoint.
Yeah, for the Brewers, he just hasn't been great in his major league appearances.
Mm-hmm. But hopefully, it'll all sort of click for him. But I'm looking forward to this series. I think this is going to be a fun rivalry, little bit of a heated series with the Cubbies coming to town at American Family Field. Like I mentioned, I'm so glad it's Miz and Harrison and Woodruff that it's set up to pitch this way. I don't think that's by happy accident. I think that's definitely by plan. But, I mean, if the Brewers can win this series, you're talking about 22 games over 500 potentially if they take at least 2 out of 3 with this. I mean, boy, that would be – or no, 21. Yeah, 21 games over 500, excuse me. So, by far exceeding my expectations what this team was going to be at the halfway mark. 50% of the way through the season, 2 quarters in, way exceeding my expectations. They're what, 1 win away from 50?
Mm-hmm.
Can they win 50 more in the second half to get to 100? I know we talked about that a few weeks ago. Why not?
Yeah.
Why can't they? If they finish up this season or this first half just winning 1 more game, can they win 50 more? I think so.
Yeah.
Franchise record they set last year, 97? Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're going to need all these wins to compete with the Dodgers and the Braves for those 1 and 2 seeds. So.
And the other part where I hope they get to 100 is because that would at least tell me that they're probably finishing the regular season on a good note, riding that momentum into the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going to be easy to win 50 more games in the second half. I don't want to make it seem like it's this easy thing, but I would imagine if they get 100 wins that they're going to be going into the postseason still playing some really good baseball and not limping into it like they've lost 8 of their last 10 or something. You know, to get to 100 wins, you still got to play some really good baseball at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I think momentum is such a huge thing. Huge thing. And not only baseball, but I mean, you can make the case for football. How many times have we seen that in the postseason? But how many? It seems like more times than not in baseball. If you got that momentum riding in there, it can take you a fair amount.
Especially for MLB hitters, just because it's so hard to hit a baseball. When they start slumping, like they'll slump for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get hot, like you saw what Jackson Churio did, when he gets hot, it's hard to stop him. And if the Brewers go into the postseason with guys like Churio hot and Contreras hot and Terang hot, they're going to be hard to beat.
Mm-hmm. Baseball is such a interesting, albeit frustrating sport because of those slumps and hot streaks. And it's a constant thing. And I got to imagine from a pro side of things, it just got to mess with you mentally.
Yeah.
So many times. Well, I'll do a little bit of a change, lift the elbow up just a little bit more here. You know, you're coming in. I mean, the constant nitpicking and finicking with your swing, it's got to be one of the most frustrating things because it's a long season too. And those slumps can go on for a while. And I got to imagine from a mindset, it's like, but what I was doing was working last month. Why is it not working now? And then you change it a little bit. Okay, now it's working. And then a month later, now it's not working. Let's go back. It's this constant internal mental battle. It's, yeah.
Gotta always involve in the sport of baseball. Everybody's changing. You got to change too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, let's take our final break as we approach halftime. All right, we'll do some 3 up, 3 down to kick off the third hour. You can play along if you'd like. What are 3 things in the sports world that are up, and what are 3 things that are down? You can send them on over. Text it to us, 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break and be back to wrap up the second hour after these few words. Looking for that perfect summer hangout? Well, then you need to make your way on over to the VFW Post at 305 in Eau Claire. Enjoy some beautiful views overlooking the river, some great food, some cold beverages, and some of the best live local music that you will find anywhere in the Chippewa Valley. Whether you are meeting some friends after work or spending a summer evening outdoors, VFW Post 305 is the place to be. Great views, great music, great times. That's the VFW Post 305, located at 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. Don't forget, we've got Jake Boakes joining us in a little over half an hour. So if you have any outdoor-related questions, please text those on over to that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912. And since we won't have a show next week, that'll be the 4th. So if you have any questions for maybe you got some outdoor plans for the 4th of July weekend, send those on over right now so Jake can help answer them for you before maybe you do some get outside for a little bit with the 4th of July weekend. So that, again, will be coming up at about 8:30 this morning. So we got 3 Up, 3 Down coming your way. Also, give me your Am I Wrongs, brought to you by Mike's Star Market. Give me a sports take, sports opinion, sports thought, where you'd be like, am I wrong? Am I wrong for thinking this? Am I wrong for saying that? Am I wrong for believing this? Let us know. All right, send it on over. Okay. Staying with football-wise, though, too, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more issues going on in the offseason with players and the law, because it feels like every week now there's something. Yeah. And now this one from Arnold with the Lions, Terry and Arnold, arrested facing kidnapping and robbery charges. And I thought I'd read somewhere, too, that they could serve a life sentence.
Yeah.
From a football perspective, that ain't good for the Lions. But, I mean, from a real life stand, what the heck is going on lately? You know, I know Josh Jacobs, that was a few weeks. But, man, it feels like every week there's something that's popping up. I
think, and some of it, and not all of it, but some of it is, as an NFL player, you can get away with a lot more. And that's an extreme level, obviously. But players can take more risks because they can get away with more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, man, something to kind of monitor for sure. But World Cup-wise, if you're going to be wanting to watch a little soccer, going to have to stay up late tonight to watch Team USA in action against Turkey. It's going to be 9 p.m. But give you a little bit of a hint that Team USA soccer might be up in my 3 Up and 3 Down coming up here. But Antonio Freeman's making some news. I mean, he's all over getting interviews and such because of his kid, and it's a cool story and that. And I think that honestly kind of brings a little bit more of a connection for Wisconsin sports fans to the team, knowing that Antonio Freeman, a beloved, famous Packer, has a son who is performing very well for Team USA. But it's a cool connection, especially for our state and our state teams and that. But overall, Team USA is doing a pretty darn good job. I'm curious to see how far they can make this thing go.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch them tonight, 9 p.m. against Turkey, so it's going to be a late one. But I hope they make a deep run, because I'd like to, I don't know, just be a really cool thing to see. And I wonder if that would, if Team USA on the men's side, let's say they win it. Am I wrong that maybe soccer fanism participate? I mean, it's already big in Eau Claire, but from a country standpoint, does it get bigger? Does it grow?
Maybe a little bit. I still think, like, I'm not going to turn on the TV to watch MLS soccer. Like, I'll watch USA, but I'm not going to watch MLS. So I think some of this is just your country is playing. I think it's a little bit like hockey. You know, a lot of non-hockey fans watched USA hockey because it's their country. They want to support their country. So I maybe some more eyes go to soccer after this, but I think, you know, the people like me will just, every World Cup I'll watch. But besides that, I'm not a soccer guy.
Is it similar for you for the Olympics?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right. Okay, shot clock's going to cut me off or cut us off here in a minute. So we've got some news updates, and then we'll kick off the third hour. We'll do a little 3 up, 3 down. Don't forget, if you have a question, topic, idea that you want to throw out there for us to banter and for the rest of our listeners to banter, hey, send them on over. We'd love to throw that into the conversation too. So whether it's some Giannis stuff, some Brewer stuff, some football stuff, whatever it may be. Really quick, John says, am I wrong for thinking that the 21 Bucks championship was 2 years too late? They had all the pieces to win it that year and was even up 2-0 on the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals. In Game 3, Nick Nurse shifted Kawhi Leonard over to Giannis, and they won 4 straight. Even in 2020, the COVID year, they were rolling, and the world shut down and ruined any momentum the Bucks had. Yeah, the championship that they lost to the Raptors, or the playoff series they lost to the Raptors, that's a big what if. They would have beaten the Warriors because the Warriors were so banged up. Yeah, 100%. And then we'd say, Giannis, maybe 2 championships.
Yeah.
But butterfly effect, maybe they don't win. Yeah, multiple
championships.
Yep. All right, 2 in, 2 more to go. News updates. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, third hour kicks off right now on this Thursday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. We got Jake Boakes coming up at the bottom of the hour answering your outdoor-related questions. So text those right now to us so we can get those to Jake, 715-830-1912. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk as Brewers wrapping up their series with the Reds yesterday with a sweep. Off day today before they take on the Cubbies. We'll throw a little bit more hoops chat in here. It is a Mike's Star Market. Am I wrong? So give me your sports take, your sports opinions, your sports thoughts where you'd say, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Let's do a little 3 up and 3 down. We got intern Carter also sitting across the way here. So I got my 3 up and 3 down. We'll start off with the 3 up. We just mentioned them. I'm going to go U.S. Soccer. I was reading the power rankings on ESPN, and they actually dropped Team USA a couple spots. Essentially, they acknowledge that they're playing well, but it's the quality of wins. Okay, but you still won. So, just saying. But they're playing well. So 3 up, U.S. Soccer. I'm going to go with the Eau Claire Express, 7-3 in their last 10. Take care of business today, and that makes that 4-game series pretty darn big against Lacrosse since you're chasing Lacrosse by 4.5. But they're playing some good baseball, so the Express. My final up, Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn's playing well in his limited opportunities. Jake Bowers has been getting more playing time because of the power. But Andrew Vaughn right now, when you look at his numbers, this season in 111 at-bats, 351 batting average, an on-base of a 438, and an OPS of a 970. In his last 15 games, he is hitting 412 with an on-base of a 533 and slugging at 706. Sure, the power may not necessarily be there. He's got 2 home runs, but the guy is coming up with some big hits, manufacturing some runs with those hits like he did last night with his 3 RBI double. But dude's hitting well even in his limited opportunities. It's Jake Bowers is pretty much proving so far to be the Brewers' main power threat. So, and you kind of have to keep him in more times than not at this point. But that doesn't diminish what Andrew Vaughn is doing right now. And Andrew Vaughn's playing really well from the plate. So I'm going to go up for him. Down, my 3 down. It's going to be down for the Bucks for a while, I think. But I think that we don't need to go there. Doc Rivers down even further because that piece makes him, I think that Milwaukee Journal Sentinel piece makes him look worse. Really, a 90K golf simulator taking down Giannis's logo? Did you remember that part in the whole thing too? Which was like, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. So, and then we talked a little bit about him earlier, Freddie Peralta. If the narrative around him is that he's only like a 5-inning guy, I wonder, over under 2.5 years, does Freddie Peralta become a bullpen guy? Like that long relief bullpen guy gives you 3 innings. Is he better suited for that? Because if we were talking a little bit about it, I should have double checked it, but I believe it was Buster Only kind of talking about that he's just a 5-inning guy. At best a 6. Teams don't necessarily view him as an ace, and I think he's going to get a nice contract, but probably not as much as he was hoping for. But I wonder if a team's going to look at him, or teams are going to start looking at him more for longer bullpen. And maybe that's where he's best suited at, really. I mean, not to take anything away, but if you can only get 5 consistently through him, and I get, pitchers aren't going that deep to begin with, but I don't know. I wonder if that's better suited for Freddie Peralta.
I mean, I believe he started in the MLB as a bullpen pitcher and then moved to a starter, so he's done it before. But yeah, like a Shane Drone kind of guy. Every once in a while he'll get a start. Doesn't need to start week in and week out, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. So those are my 3 up and 3 down for this morning. But you had a couple of – who's trying to call me on my cell phone? I don't know who that is. Probably spam. But you had a couple of topics for this morning. Let's hit up one of those. You said, or you threw out there, should we be concerned about the Brewers hitting as of late? You essentially referring to the Red Series?
Yeah, and a little of the Braves. We're having to hit home runs recently to score runs.
Yep.
And I think that's not this team. So if we're going to hit home runs, we're going to lose in the postseason. And it's just not that, and this is probably a little bit of an overreaction, but it's something to talk about. We haven't been great with runners in scoring position recently, and we didn't score a ton against the Braves, lost the series. We swept the Reds, but beat them 2-1 and 2-0. Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen a lot, especially against good teams. So the trend has been going downhill in terms of hitting and runners in scoring position, and then obviously Andrew Vaughn hits a 3-run double last night, but it's they haven't been as good as they were to start the season. Now they're hitting more home runs, but you can't rely on that if you're a team that doesn't hit a lot of home runs already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's going to be the major question throughout the rest of the season, and if they get to the postseason. Even if they go on a nice little streak, I think that's still going to be the biggest question surrounding this team. And it's pretty much the same as last year, right? I mean, looking at some of their numbers right now, just for let me break it down by the month of June here. Let's go June. All right. Team. So Brewers right now, home run wise, I want the month of June. Where are we at? So they are 10th, tied for 10th. Last week, I think when we did this, they were like top 5 or somewhere within the top 10. The Athletics have still the lead, 43. They're the only team in the month of June with over 40. Detroit's 36. Second place with Minnesota at 36. Put it in perspective, Milwaukee's got 30 so far this year. Now, runs scored so far in the month of June, Milwaukee's number 1. 139 total runs scored. Next closest is Kansas City at 127. OPS, Milwaukee's number 2, 827. Colorado's number 1 at 839. Slugging, Brewers, 5th best. This is all across Major League Baseball, by the way. On base percentage, Milwaukee, the best, 360. Batting average, Milwaukee, 282, number 1 in the month of June. But it's the home run, right? RBIs. Wow. Okay, this one surprised me. Their number 1 RBI is 132. The next closest is Kansas City at 117. That gap, I think, is what surprises me the most.
Yeah.
A little bit. In terms of taking walks, number 1, Milwaukee, 97 walks. Okay, I'll admit, those numbers do surprise me too. Those are better than what I thought. Now, they're also top 10 in strikeouts. They've got the 7th most strikeouts. I know Bryce Terang is a guy who's striking out more this year too, but maybe that's just kind of a byproduct of his new offensive game, kind of me being a little bit more of a power guy. But all right, hits, Brewers, number 1, 221 in the month of June. So I'll admit, I'm a little surprised with how this is for just this month of June. We're just looking at this, not the whole season, as we're starting to wrap up this month. That does surprise me a little bit. Surprise you a little bit?
Yeah, I think this month's been interesting. Just it's been a weird month because they're hitting more home runs. Like, they're top 10. They haven't been top 10 in a long time.
Yeah.
They're scoring runs at a high rate, and it's just been a weird month for the Brewers. Like, they'll win games 2-0. They'll lose games 2-0. It's kind of all over a place for them. But again, I think just these last 2 series for me have been that's what makes it more surprising. Is these last 2 series we haven't hit well. I know we scored 9 runs in the series finale against the Braves and then 6 runs yesterday, but we haven't been hitting great. And so that's I thought those numbers would be down a little bit, but I'll take it.
It's a pleasant surprise,
yeah.
Right? All right, let's take a quick break, but we'll be back after these few words. Speaking of Backyard Dreams, don't forget to get your two-person team signed up for the 6th annual Casper Classic coming your way Friday, August 7th from Lake Hallie Golf Course for the second year in a row. Just head to our website, sportstalk1051.com. You'll see the icon on the right-hand side to sign up your team. Just 1 p.m. and 7:30 a.m. time slots available. 10 a.m. is all sold out for just $90. That covers your entire team. So if you want to divvy it up between you and your buddy, that's $45 a piece. But that includes your 9 holes, your meal, a couple drink tickets, the cart. So get on over there, sign up before it is too late because, well, just in about a week and a half, it'll be 1 month away already. Big thanks to our partners, Muldoon's, Park Ridge Distributing, Hy-Vee and Eau Claire, Kelsey Nikolai, Edward Jones, Financial, Dodge, Cambridge, Myron Construction, VFW Post 305, Superior Auto Body, Window World, Home Oasis, Residence Branding, and Claflin Construction. If you are interested in partnering up, becoming a whole sponsor, or what we're really looking for is some raffle donations because 100% of the proceeds go to fund Backyard Dreams. Please reach out. Please reach out and help us out. We would definitely love that. So, again, it's coming up Friday, August 7th, Lake Hallie Golf Course in Eau Claire. Over under 1 game, intern Carter. Tyler Hero will suit up for the Bucks this year.
Under.
Think he gets traded before?
I think he gets traded this offseason.
I think just from what I was reading a little bit yesterday with Austin Reeves now going back to the Lakers, like the Pistons were trying to get him. I wonder if that was probably good news for the Bucks if they want to flip Tyler Hero, and maybe that ups the urgency from the Pistons to make that move. Even if Hero wants to go to Milwaukee and that, I think if you get a trade package that gets you a first rounder and a player or something like, I was even reading he might even get a couple first rounders in return. I think you do it.
Yeah.
Especially if he's only got 1 year left on this deal.
The Bucks, they're starting a rebuild. That means they don't need to pay anybody. And Tyler Hero's not the guy you want to pay anybody.
Mm-hmm. He's not I don't think you can build a team around him.
Mm-mm.
He's a 2 or 3 option.
Yeah. He's like an Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yep.
I mean, Reeves is what? I mean, he kind of a 2 or a 3, depending on what you want to call LeBron, but on the Lakers, that's Hero.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, Luka's probably the 1.
Yeah.
And then, LeBron 2, 3, then, Austin Reeves. So I don't think he suits up for the Bucks this year. Mm-hmm. I think you flip him. If you get a good deal, you flip him.
Do you think Miles Turner and Kyle Kuzma will be in the Bucks?
I think they're really trying to get rid of them.
I do too. I don't think anybody wants him.
No. I don't even know what do you get in return for him? For
salary.
I just maybe they can get a second round pick from 2040. I don't know, but I think if they could try, do you just release him? I don't know.
You can't cut Turner. His dead cap's too much after you cut Dame. Either way, they cannot be on the team next year, right? Like,
if you had to pick one to keep, who is it?
Miles Turner.
That's where I would go to. Yeah. I just don't know what the value you'd get for him.
I don't know.
I think Miles Turner would get you more value than what Kyle Kuzma would.
Probably. Kuzma, you're not going to get anything for. But at the same time, shedding salary and maybe you get a young developmental player.
Yeah, is it more beneficial just to keep him on the roster and play him, or do you just release him and, all right, we're going to roll with all young developing players and see how this pans out and get them experience?
I mean, I'd rather just them release him. Some of these players could be exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. And that's going to have to be their draw to get people to buy tickets this year.
Do you like the picks that they made?
I loved them. And now the NBA picks are so weird to me. Just because the guys like Braden Smith, Purdue, was one of the best college basketball players the past 2 years, gets picked in the second round. So it's so weird to me. But yeah, I really like it. It speeds up a rebuild really quickly. And Nate Amen, I mean, he's a guy. Now I'm not comparing him to Giannis, but he's a guy like Giannis coming out of college. And he's smaller. He needs to get some strength, but he's got all the tools to be a really good player.
Mm-hmm. Just looking at the updated depth chart on ESPN. Miles Turner, center. Kuzma, your power forward if you're doing the traditional lineups. Yaquez at small forward. Tyler Hero at the shooting guard. Ryan Rollins at the point. Then your second group, Kevin Porter Jr., Braden, Nate Ament, Pete Nance, and then Ware.
I would be surprised if Ryan Rollins and Kevin Porter Jr. are both on a roster.
Yeah.
Because they were fighting for playing time last year, and now...
And doesn't Porter have an option that he can opt out?
That's true. I think he does. I think the Bucks... I don't know.
They signed Rollins to that. Yes. Yeah, he's got a player option. So Kevin Porter Jr. has a player option. Deadline's actually in 4 days. That player option would be, it looks like $5.4 million. I would think he would opt out of that.
I would think so.
Yeah, I'd think so. Rollins is under contract, I know. I think they signed him too. Because I think when he signed that contract, people were like, huh? Why? Yeah, he's under contract for this year. He's only $4 million, and then he's got a player option next year, and then he's an unrestricted free agent in 2028. I think I'd be surprised if they keep both.
Yeah,
especially too because I think Braden can play point. I wonder if they want him to be that point guard eventually.
Yeah, I think they want to shift Ryan Rollins to the 2 because he's just more of a shooting guard, and Burry's at the 1. Which is why I think that Kevin Porter Jr. won't be on the Bucks next year because they'll want to start Burries.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And then whatever they get in return for Tyler.
Yeah,
Tyler Hero. I can't.
What if they like packaged Hero and Kuzma? Like, could that be a way they get?
I know, like with the Detroit thing, they'd have to try to match salaries because they're both in very
that's true
similar situations with the salary cap. So that would be the only thing. But, I mean, we've seen the NBA trades all the time where team takes on a big contract and kind of sheds it and gets salary relief. But, yeah, I think, honestly, am I wrong for thinking it's probably more likely that Kuzma and Turner are playing for the Bucks and Tyler Hero next year or this upcoming season?
Yeah, probably.
Take your lumps for one more year and then move on?
Yeah, probably. I think, although I don't know if you saw the report at all, the Bucks are rumored to be inquiring on LaMelo Ball.
Why?
Well, they wanted Miles Turner. They were one of the teams that wanted Miles Turner. And I think to match salaries, they need a player with a higher salary. You're going to have to trade picks unless you trade a Hero. I don't know why you do that, but maybe that's a way to get rid of Kuzma and Turner.
And Kuzma's got an expiring contract. He's a free agent next year.
Yeah.
I could see the Bucks just playing it out this year and just getting that financial relief after. Who knows, though? Who knows? I'd be surprised if the Bucks trade for Ball.
I wouldn't like it. It doesn't make sense with what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Just keep Tyler Hero if you're going to do that.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We got Jake Bolks coming up. Final call for any questions. Send those on over via that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with a quick text at 715-830-1912. We'll be right back after these few words. See, this is what happens in radio sometimes. You say something, you ponder about it, you talk about it, and then something happens during the break. Intern Carter there says, LaMelo Ball just got traded, and it wasn't to the Bucks. It was to the Timberwolves. So LaMelo Ball getting traded to the Timberwolves and Josh Green. So LaMelo Ball and Josh Green going to the Timberwolves for Naz Reid, a 2033 unprotected first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps, 2028, 2029, and 2030, and 3 second-round picks in 29, 32, 33. So there you have it. I believe, Jake, you're a Timberwolves fan, aren't you, man? So what are your thoughts on this?
I am. That is breaking news to me. LaMelo Ball, the whole Ball family, it's always a thing, so that's interesting, but I know he's a good player. What my biggest takeaway from all that is Naz Reid is like a cultural icon in Minnesota. So I think the biggest takeaway from Minnesota fans is they're going to be quite upset that Naz Reid is gone.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing, when they were making the conference championships, there was people getting Naz Reid tattoos. If you watch social media, you'll see like Naz Reid jerseys popping up at like these FIFA games, like down in Mexico. There's Naz Reid towels that show up at random football. It's kind of like a cultural thing in Minnesota. So the fact that they traded him was a pretty big deal.
I got to imagine that means Rudy Gobert ain't going anywhere at this point.
Yeah, you would think so. I can't remember the other center we have, but I know they want to play him at some point. So it'll be interesting. That is people figured something was going to happen, but I guess didn't necessarily expect that.
Right. Yeah.
At least I didn't.
Yeah. We were just talking about him before we went to you about Bucks possibly interested in that, and then boom, Timberwolves. So I guess we spoke into it.
Well, yeah, and you guys, Giannis, obviously that's the biggest deal of it all. So it's been quite a week, huh?
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's I think I'm still kind of in a little bit of. I mean, I thought it was going to happen, but the fact that it did happen is still kind of, I can't believe it actually still did. So.
Yeah, 13 years is a long time. I mean, too bad he couldn't finish out with you guys. I was rooting for that.
Yeah.
I like the Bucks. I like the Wolves, but I like the Bucks.
Well, and I'm like the same way with the Wolves, too. Now I know NBA media has shifted over, maybe Anthony Edwards should be traded out of Minnesota. I'm like, we got to stop this NBA media. I mean, come on. I like Anthony Edwards a lot, and I don't want him to leave Minnesota. So.
No, you gotta like big names in small markets.
Yep.
That's why Giannis was so nice. So.
I agree. All right, Jake. Well, are you ready to jump right into it, man? With some questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, first one.
Yes, sir.
First one comes from our friend Surveyor Sam. He was wondering if it's legal to use a cast net to catch bait fish on the St. Croix, Mississippi, and in Lake Michigan for, is it alewife? Is that how you pronounce it?
Alewife. Yeah. So the answer to that is no. 99.9% of the time in the state of Wisconsin, cast nets are illegal. So you can I think they sell for like $20 or $25 at Walmart. It's not uncommon for us to see it, especially with like teenagers or young people grabbing a cast net for $25 and then trying to utilize it. But they are illegal. So there is only one spot in the state where you can use a cast net. That's why I said 99.9, and that's only on the Wisconsin-Iowa boundary waters, and it's only when you're grabbing suckers. And it says the cast nets can't be any longer than 7 feet in diameter, yada, yada. It's the only place a cast net can be used. I've looked in the past on this because I thought they were 100% illegal, but then I found this little caveat, and it's not even in the fishing regulations, it's in the spearing, netting, and baiting regulations, where you can only use them on the Wisconsin-Iowa boundary, so that doesn't apply to the Minnesota boundary or any other ones, only on that little part of the river and only for suckers. So for the question that came in, the answer would be no, can't use them on the St. Croix, can't use them in the Great Lakes, stuff like that. For alewife, it is common for fishermen over there to get their own alewife because that's what the fish are eating. But there are some rules with that. I don't have that open, but from my memory of working over there, you can use dip nets. So dip nets are different than cast nets. So if you're on the east side, obviously look at the rigs. But if you want to catch alewife, you'd have to use a dip net. And when you're using a dip net, you're not supposed to have any fishing gear like out. Like you got to basically reel all your lines up and put it all away, go catch your alewife with your dip net, and then, remove everything. It's got to be like two separate things.
Okay.
So if you're going to do that over there, I would definitely just grab the spearing, netting, and harvest regulations, and then read that, what you have to do to catch alewife over there. On the St. Croix, you can't use any of it.
Okay. All right. Good question. We had another one come in. I don't know if you got it when I texted to you, but they were just wondering.
Yeah, I saw it.
Do you have any updates on a potential crane season, I guess, in Wisconsin?
So I don't know much from the state. Haven't heard anything, but the state isn't really the one pushing it. A lot of times we're just like an advisory part of it, or when something does pass, they tell us that you shall make like woodchuck season or something like that. I am a volunteer with the Delta Waterfall chapter here, and so I get a lot of their emails, so I follow it that way personally. And the last thing I saw was that, and I think we talked about it at the time when it was up for a vote, it didn't pass this last spring in their last whatever cycle that was. So that's just kind of done for now. I think they got the closest they've ever come with it, but it didn't make it all the way. From my understanding, what I'm reading is that it's not like it's dead. It's not like it'll never be brought up again. It sounds like they have a really good framework and they have it written out the way they want. I think they just have to wait for another legislative session and the right support to push it through again and hopefully have a better outcome. Okay. So it's kind of like wolves. I was reading the Outdoor News yesterday where, someone wrote in saying like, why don't we have a wolf season? Why doesn't the DNR have a wolf season? And I know we can talk about it 100 times, but, there's always someone that misses that conversation. And it's simply that it's not up to the DNR to create a crane season. It's not up to the DNR to create a wolf season. Biologically, I think we would all want it. It comes down to legislators, the federal government, the Endangered Species Act, all that kind of stuff that kind of trumps what we want. And we just have to wait for those animals basically to be deregulated, or for someone to make a special rule that allows us to have that season, or more likely to make a rule that allows the state of Wisconsin to regulate that species.
Gotcha. Have you ever tried, I've heard like crane called ribeye in the sky. Have you ever tried it?
I haven't tried it. I'd love to try it. There's plenty of states that you can hunt it. So it's not like the forbidden meat where, you have to whisper that you ate it before. So there's plenty of states where you can go out and get it. Ironically, I've been seeing a lot of cranes in the fields around Elk Mountain right now. So I'm sure the farmers aren't liking that necessarily. But I've heard it's good, but I couldn't tell you if it lives up to the hype or not. Mm-hmm. Someday I would like to try it, hopefully sooner than later.
Have you heard the same nickname for it? Did I?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Ribeye of the Sky. Ribeye of the Sky.
Yeah. I heard that a few years ago. I'm like, really? Okay. I've never heard about that.
No, I've heard it for a long time. And I know there's plenty of guys that I know that go hunt out west and they've had it, and I've never heard anyone say like it's gross, know.
Yeah.
Is it a ribeye? I don't know, but I've never heard anyone say like a coot, like, oh, we're just not even going to shoot a coot because we're not going to eat it type of thing.
Right.
I haven't heard it described like that, so I'm sure there's some flavor to it.
Right. Well, Jake, I know we're not going to be on next week, so I wanted to ask you, too, because next week, we're already talking about the 4th of July weekend, believe it or not, and got to be one of your busiest times of the year. What are some of maybe the biggest issues historically you've ran into when it comes to the 4th of July that maybe just a good reminder for everybody out there?
Yeah, it seems like the biggest thing we run into, and most where people are getting in trouble these days around the 4th, just has to do with, just like on the roadways for State Patrol, for us it's ATVs, boats, and alcohol. Obviously, we put a presence on OWI enforcement because that's where people die. Most people aren't dying from, catching too big of a northern and it eating them or something like that, right? They're dying from getting drunk and driving a UTV into a tree or driving a boat into a sandbar and flipping it or throwing people out of it. So that's where we put a lot of presence, not only, the DNR wardens, but the sheriff's department's deputies, rec deputies that assist us or that are out there, because we see it. And not only are we like looking for it, but it's the weekend where, we could just be sitting there and some guy pulls up to talk to us and he's visibly intoxicated. So, that's a big thing. So it's always a reminder, that it's not illegal to have a beer in the boat or on the UTV. But we obviously always encourage you to just wait if you can. And if you can't, then make sure you're being responsible. You have one beer, you have two beers, mix in a bunch of water. A lot of people drive long days and they stop and they just, drink a beer here, drink a beer there, stop at the bar, grab a beer there, stop on the trail, pull it out of the cooler. And before you know, you're having 6, 7, 8, 9 of them without mixing any water and being out in the hot sun all day. So whether that's on the boat or the ATVs, UTVs, just be cognizant of it and be safe. We want everyone to come home safe. We don't want anyone to kill themselves or, God forbid, kill somebody else. So it happens. I mean, it literally happens almost every weekend. So I'm not trying to be the no fun police, but we don't want that to happen to someone here listening,
Mm-hmm. You mentioned.
So that's kind of the big. Yeah, sorry. I was just saying that's kind of the big thing. Obviously, there's always the. If you're going to go fishing and get your fishing license, we see a lot of people that only fish around the 4th of July because they're on the lake. You still got to have a fishing license, even if it's the only time of year you do it. So make sure you have your licenses. Make sure you got your boats registered. Those are obviously other things we're going to be running into.
What about fireworks off like pontoons? Is that okay? Is that illegal? Because I've seen, I'm sure you've seen it, and a lot of people have seen it.
Yeah, so fireworks are still illegal. Even though you can buy them off the side of the highway, they're still illegal in the state of Wisconsin. Generally, the sheriff's department are the ones that are going to respond to any fireworks unless you're on state land or in a state park. We do have rules where all fireworks are illegal on state lands and in state parks, so you can't do it there. If you're doing it off a boat, we're probably going to write you some citations, not only for the legal fireworks, but for some careless boating operation and potentially putting other people in harm. So don't shoot them off your pontoon. It's not safe. Again, you don't want to die from a firework or, God forbid, lose half your hand because you're messing around with a firework on a bumpy boat. So don't be doing anything like that. There's tons and tons of fireworks shows in the state. If you really want to see one, get a good seat, at your local county or city and watch them that way.
Mm-hmm. Jake, I might as well ask you something that I was asking you yesterday, UTV stuff, since we're talking about trails and ATVs and that. What's the best way to, because I had asked you, I'm like, okay, I picked up a UTV. Can I drive it around, my neighborhood and such? Because it's a little bit of different, right? We've got to register it with the DNR, but then it's kind of based off of township rules, correct?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different jurisdictions that come with ATVs and UTVs. They're registered through the state of Wisconsin, through the DNR, and we have authority over them in everywhere. We have authority on them, but when it comes to the road routes, the way the laws were written initially is it was designed for ATVs to be on kind of state ATV trail systems. And then over the years, with different modifications of the laws and the UTVs becoming such a big deal, different legislators have added different exemptions to allowing ATVs and UTVs in more places, including the roadways, and that's what we're all seeing. So with that, again, I preface this all because it's just the way the laws are written can sometimes cross different boundaries where the state regulates them, but really if you want to know exactly where you can drive them or not, you're going to have to look at your local city, county, or township ordinance. So the way the law is written now is that if you want a road route, say the town of Springbrook, which is outside of Elk Mound. If they want to have ATV, UTV routes, like if they want the roads to be routes, the township has to make an ordinance that is approved by the township and the state, which allows them. The state doesn't just say carte blanche, like every road is a route, you know. Each individual township in each county in the state has to adopt an ordinance that allows it. So if you truly want to know from the really base level if you can ride an ATV or UTV on the local roads, you can look at your township website, and everyone does. Like every town or village or city has their own website, and if you find their ordinance section, there's usually like its own ATV and snowmobile section. You'll go to that section and you'll read in there what it says. It should lay out, you know, whether they're, some of them, if they don't allow it, it just says ATV, UTVs are not allowed on any road routes or on any roads. Other ones are going to lay out what roads, like all the roads in the township except for county highway this or interstate that. So it'll be written in there. So if you truly want to know, go to your local, but wherever you live, again, if it's the city of Eau Claire, if it's the village of Elk Mound, if it's the township of Springbrook, they'll have a website, find the ordinances, find the ATV section, and read it. And that's how you're going to know.
All right, that's a lot, but good stuff there, Jake. Hey,
it can be a lot, but that's legally where it has to be written. Sometimes, so every road in the state that's a legal road route is supposed to have that green sign on it. We've all seen that green sign with the ATV/UTV on it. That indicates that it's open. I'm parked on the side of the road right now. Actually, I'm looking at one right now. So they're supposed to have it, but it can be expensive. So there's a lot of places where it's actually open, but they don't have it marked and stuff like that. So it can kind of be confusing. That's why I know it's a little bit of work, but I really just encourage people that if you're going to rip around your neighborhood, if you want to go on a certain path to a friend's house or to a restaurant or whatever, just take the time, just like the regulations, take the time to find that ordinance and see whether you can be operating it there or not.
Good stuff, Jake. Hey, we appreciate it as always, buddy. Enjoy the week and for next week too, and be safe out there on the 4th, okay?
Yeah, you as well. Enjoy the 4th, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of stories to discuss once we both get back.
Absolutely. All right. Good stuff as always. Jake Boakes, Wisconsin Conservation Warden for the state of Wisconsin. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap up the third hour after these few words. All right, just a few minutes left to the top of the hour this morning. So continue to send us your Am I Wrongs and your Mike Starmarket Am I Wrongs. If you're just joining yet, if you are a Timberwolves fan, I mean, your team's been making some moves here as of late, too. Not just the Bucks, but, I mean, a few days ago was Julius Randle. And now Naz Reid's out, but you get LaMelo Ball. So, interesting. I think, last year, too, wasn't it the thought with the Timberwolves? They were looking for a traditional point guard instead of having Anthony Edwards kind of act as the one. Now Anthony Edwards could be the two. So now you got LaMelo Ball as your one. But they did get rid of some size, too, with Randall and Naz Reid. As you heard Jake, our DNR Warren buddy, who is a Timberwolves fan, talked about Naz Reid's kind of a cultural icon over there. I'm trying to think of like a comparison. Was it almost like a Bobby Portis comparison for the Bucks? Maybe. Well, I don't know if anybody got Bobby Portis tattoos, but maybe something similar. Or like if Jordy Nelson was still playing in the Packers, traded him and such. So, but if you are a Timberwolves fan, I'd love to hear your reaction. Do you like the trade or not? Maybe you don't. What you got? Hit us up. Let us know. Text it 715-830-1912. Or hit us up on the Section 105 chat. Zach does have a am I wrong? Jordan Love is that supposed to be top 10 quarterback? I think it says 10 quarterback. I don't think you're wrong. Would you say top 10 right now in the league?
Yeah, he's probably 9 or 10.
Yeah, I'd say not top 5.
No.
But you could make a case for top 10. I mean, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, would you put top 10?
Yeah, Burrow, I'd probably
Burrow,
still put
yeah,
over
good
Love.
ball. Jalen Hurts?
Nope.
No? Okay, that was a quick no.
Nope. I'm not a Jalen Hurts fan.
All right. Stafford?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even with the age,
Stafford.
I'd still put Stafford on there.
Justin Herbert's kind of on the Jordan Love. Dak Prescott's kind of with Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm. Is Jordan Love the best quarterback in the division?
Well, in my opinion, yes. Yeah. But I think Caleb Williams is severely overrated.
What about Jared Goff?
Jared Goff's good, but he's more of a pocket passer. Has to work within a system. I think Jordan Love's definitely the guy that can work out of a system, can play on the run, make off-platform throws.
Baker?
Again, that's kind of where Jordan Love's at, in my opinion. The Baker, the Dak, the Justin Herbert. Jane Daniels had one good year. I'd probably put him with them. If he stays healthy, maybe he can pass. I think Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl. He's got to be over Jordan Love. I know that was a team thing, but Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl.
What about Brock Purdy?
No, I think Jordan Love's better than Brock Purdy.
Huh? I'm just trying to think of some names off the fly here. C.J. Stroud?
Nope, Jordan Love's better than C.J. Stroud.
Trevor Lawrence?
Bo Nix. Trevor Lawrence is kind of in there too. I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence believer. I think Jordan Love's better. But he made it to the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
13 wins. I'm a big Bo Nix believer, but I'd say Jordan Love's better right now.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll throw it out to the rest of the peeps. They can answer that. They can answer that too from Zach. So, all right, we got a couple minutes left to the top. So, final hour coming up here. We'll talk some more baseball. Talk some more hoops. The question I'm throwing out there, I want some more responses. Okay, Wisconsin fans, of these former 2 Wisconsin GOATs, Rodgers or Giannis, if you can only award one more championship to them, maybe it's not even this year. Maybe you could just go back or maybe you could just say, hey, here's one. You get an honorary championship. I don't care. Let's just make this easier. If you could give one of those players one more championship, who would it be? Giannis or Rodgers? Send us your picks. Who would you award or who would you give one more champion? Both Intern and I went with Rodgers. I think we're both rooting, as long as the Giannis one's a little bit different because it's in the Eastern Conference, and obviously that would have to, But I think we also know, too, that the Bucks aren't going to do anything this year, it feels like. So, but I just feel like from a legacy standpoint, another championship would mean more to Rodgers than Giannis.
Yeah.
So, but hey, if you disagree, good. Let us know. We want to know. Who would you want to give that to? Because I mean, I'd be curious to know, too, because we're too young. But were Bucks fans good with like Kareem winning multiple championships with the Lakers?
With the Lakers.
You know, is that comparable at all? I mean, I'd love to know that. Yeah. So, let us know. Keep us posted. So, the Brady ones, I was trying to think of like, oh, Brady, but he already won a crap load in New England, so that's not even fair. So, I can't throw that one in there. But all right, Rodgers or Giannis, if you could give one more championship to, who would it be? All right, but yeah, Rodgers has been the more popular pick, which I'm not too surprised, I think, at this point. So, all right, shot clock's going to be here. We got news updates, and then we'll be back in just a couple of minutes to round out the final hour, finish up the final hour here. No Brewers game tonight, but they get a well-deserved off day before a big series with the Cubs. We'll be right back after these quick words. All right, final hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning. Thanks for hanging out, peeps. Appreciate it. We got some more Brewers talk coming up here. Did you have a one prediction for every move? I was kind of curious. Oh, that's the one that you threw out there, wasn't it, last week? Chapman?
Mm-hmm.
So this is from Bleacher Report. One prediction. Brewers. They'll get Chapman from the Red Sox. As much as the Brewers could use another bat, their best route to the World Series is to go all in on run prevention. Their bullpen can use another power arm, and Chapman is the best there is, despite a couple of recent stumbles. Yeah. All right.
They have Scooble going to the Braves.
Gotcha. All right. We got Brewers ain't making any moves until we get after the All-Star break. I think that'd be my prediction. But by the way, All-Star stuff, you got to get some votes in if you want to get Bryce Terang and company back up in there too. So get the voting, Brewers fans, if you're into that. But Surveyor Sam says, for how close Rodgers was multiple times and to cement his legacy as clearly the greatest quarterback in the league, I would want him to have another. Plus, Giannis is still playing and can potentially get another. We all know Green Bay East isn't doing anything other than finishing 9-8 and third in their division. Hey, never say never. But I love that people are running with that. I'm glad you brought that up. Tucker Kraft is selling his house in Green Bay. I'm glad people are freaking out about that. I am so glad people are freaking out about that because that is a whole lot of nothing. Come on, really? Are we? That doesn't mean anything.
Obviously, that means he's getting
a bigger house
extension. Yes,
a bigger house with probably some land, some woods.
Yes.
Let's. That is the one thing I will say about having a local paper like the Green Bay Press. They constantly put, this coach sold their house. This player is selling their house. They're doing this. They're doing that. I want to know in bigger. Do they post that stuff in bigger market? I don't. And granted, I get it. Green Bay, some of those houses, yeah, they're probably like, oh, well, big deals, you know. So, but come on now, let's. I'll make a bold prediction. He ain't bold. He ain't going anywhere. He will not go anywhere.
They like him too much.
That would be one of the biggest mistakes if they let him walk and just do, no.
We'll talk about Jordan Love. Tucker Kraft's probably a top 5 tight end in the league right now.
And you're looking at tight ends now getting some deals, and I think the person that's the happiest right now is Tucker Kraft. I mean, we talked about the Kyle Pitts one the other day. The Jaguars, I think, was it Jaguars just locked up their tight end as well for a nice payday. So, yeah, he's going to be paid, and he's going to be paid as a top 5 tight end. And I think it would probably behove Green Bay to get it done before the season starts. Although it goes off. But yeah. Or does Tucker Kraft also say, I'm going to bet on myself and get that? It's a risky for both sides to do that.
He doesn't seem like that kind of guy, though.
No, he doesn't. And the fact that he already said he wants to play his whole career there, I mean, that.
Like, Tucker Kraft could never play in, like, California.
Is Tucker Kraft the next Jordy Nelson in terms of, like, a Wisconsin cult favorite, sort of like a John Kuhn, Jordy Nelson type of guy?
Yeah.
I think so. He's a hunter. Got to do that in Wisconsin. The mindset he has. I mean, he's at Tight End University right now. That thing, I saw a little bit of a clip, and I should find it. I need to learn to save these, but he was like doing these questions out of a hat, and it was like the perfect answers for all of them. Like Love Island. I don't watch that garbage, stuff like that. It's like perfect, just perfect. So, yeah, I think from a fan favorite standpoint he's got to be top 5.
I think so.
Like, who's got the highest Q rating for you Packers fans? Q rating being just, it doesn't have to be best, but like, who's the most likable, like your favorite player? Micah's probably up there just because he's Micah Parsons and he's new. Quarterbacks will always be up there as long as they're playing well. But Tucker Kraft's got to be top 5. I mean, when you think about Wisconsin pride. That's why Favre, I think, was so likable, lovable, because even though he was from Mississippi, he was a Wisconsin type of cat, right? And maybe that's where a lot of people weren't fans of Aaron Rodgers because California cool.
Yeah.
But Tucker Kraft's got to be an easy fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. So don't freak out when you see headlines that he's selling his house, okay? Just don't. That doesn't mean a darn thing. Didn't he just have a kid? So maybe he needs a bigger house too. So who knows? Maybe he needs a couple extra bedrooms. He's got a growing family, okay? Got to have a little indoor play space for the kiddos. All right? He's a good dad. Got to look out for the kids that way. And probably want to get some land so those kids can do some stuff out there too.
Mm-hmm.
All right? There you go. So simmer down. All right. Other than that, not a whole lot going on in the Green Bay world, Packers-wise. So, but
Which, like we talked about earlier, is kind of a good thing with how many problems the NFL's having.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we got time. Once it is football season, we'll have plenty to get to. So, but no game for the Brewers tonight as they get a well-deserved off day today. So, but they'll begin a series with the Chicago Cubbies starting tomorrow, which should be a really good series. The Brewers actually open up today. I think I saw the second best record in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
Behind the Dodgers.
Yep.
Well, is that what you have up right now? Or is this a power ranking?
This is power rankings, but second best.
What did they say about the Brew Crew for their power ranking?
Second behind the Dodgers. Brandon Woodruff returned from the injury list Monday to dominate the Reds. The 32-year-old right-hander out nearly 2 months with an injury. Held Cincinnati to 1 hit, no walks over 6 scoreless innings. A healthy Woodruff could prove significant for a Brewers rotation that is thin. The offense is third in the majors in runs scored behind the Nationals, despite ranking 28th in home runs.
All right, Dodgers 52 and 29. Braves right there too. It's been for a long time now. These three National League teams have kind of been at the head of the pack. Yankees have been up there too, but I mean, hey, Brewers swept them, so I'd give the advantage to the Brewers right now.
Yeah.
Right. Phillies, Brewers took care of business against them too. So Cubs are still 7th on that list. Interesting. Okay. I love the up and down of Pete Crow Armstrong. Because that first line right there might not be a better position player in baseball than Pete Crow Armstrong when he's rolling. That's the thing. When he's rolling. He's a very, Seattle's at 8 and they're just one game above 500. Huh. Some of these power ranking, just kind of weird.
White Sox 3 games above 500.
National League is deeper this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be National League. When you talk about your top 3 teams, well, what was it? Let me bring this up. So, American League has 5 teams above 500. And that 5th team is Seattle, 1 game above 500. National League has 4, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Well, to put it in perspective, they only have 4 teams under 500.
There you go. Put it that way. That's easier. Yeah, National League is way better this year. Way deeper this year, which maybe isn't good for the Brewers for a path to the World Series because they've potentially have a tougher hill to climb. But, hey, look at the Phillies, right? They've moved up to just 4.5 back from the Braves. They could catch them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Braves are 3-7 in their last 10 games. If it wasn't for that series win against the Brewers of all teams, too, they would be probably worse if the Brewers could have just gotten one more win, but digress. The best thing, if you are in the campaign for Pat Murphy to win a 3rd straight Manager of the Year award, root for chaos in the East between the Phillies and the Braves, and then the Brewers just continue to cruise control. Right now, because I think the Braves would probably win, but if Mattingly gets this turned around for the Phillies, he might win National League Manager of the Year too.
But if the Brewers win over 100 games, you have to give it to Pat Burke. You have to.
I feel like it's going to be like the NBA voting, and there's going to be voter fatigue. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's wrong, but I think that's what you're going to see for a lot of that. Is we can't do it 3 years in a row. It's got to go to someone, which to me is the dumbest thing. I get it from maybe a football perspective because it's such a quarterback award that switch it up every year. It doesn't need to be the same quarterback. If you're the MVP thing is such a, I don't know. Baseball, Shohei's going to win it, and that's not fatigue. Exactly. I mean, it's just because who else are you going to give it to besides Shohei in the National League? Like, who you can't. Yeah. You can't give it to anybody else in the National League. You got a guy that is dominating on both sides. As long as he continues to do that, you might as well just give him the MVP award every single year.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he's going to break the record for MVPs.
Probably.
But Barry's got 7. Is that the record, I think? Barry Bonds has most, I think it's Bonds. Yeah. Bonds has 7.
Shohei's got 4.
He's going to get 5. I think he beats Bonds' record.
But that would be 4 straight, too.
Mm-hmm. Barry won one in 01, 02, 03, 04. 90, 92, 93. 01, 02, 03, 04. Literally, he the only year he didn't was 2022 so far for Ohtani.
Yeah.
He's going to break it. Judge might get another one this year. That would be 4 for him, too. Trout was on such a fast tear. He's got 3 MVPs already, too. I'm just looking through this list of, man, there's so many guys with 3 MVPs on here. Bryce Harper has 2 of them. Robin Yount obviously has 2. But, no, I think Ohtani breaks it. Might as well rename the MVP award to the Ohtani Award. Greatest player. I mean, who else in the National League has a case?
This year, absolutely nobody.
I mean, Vizarowski right now is the leader for Cy Young.
Yeah.
But it's not MVP.
No.
Maybe if Ohtani wasn't pitching well, but the fact that he's still pitching well, too, it's just, I mean, Schwarber's got 29 home runs, but his average is is actually better than I thought it was going to be, 252. But unless Schwarber goes on this tear and breaks a home run record, maybe.
If he breaks it, you have to give it to him. But Shohei sits 17 and is hitting 295. That's the problem. It's like he's been so good at pitching as an under 2 ERA and is 7-1, and then he goes and hits 295 with 17 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd take a Brewer that hit 295 with 17 home runs, period. They don't have to pitch.
Yeah. Pete Crow Armstrong already has 17 home runs.
Yeah, he's gotten high.
Son of a gun. I didn't know it was that high. Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Miz and Woodruff and Harrison shut him up this weekend. He's probably the one guy I can't stand in Major League Baseball right now. And part of it is because, yes, he's with the Cubs.
Yeah.
That's a big reason. If he was on any other team, well, maybe if he was the Cardinals, I probably wouldn't either. Him and Wilson Contreras, they're on Dan's I don't like list. Don't like him.
But the way he acts, too, it's just like he'll let up an inside the park home run because he forgot how to catch a fly ball. And then he'll act like he's the best player in the world when he hits a home run. It's like
the thing that last year in the playoff series with the Brewers and kind of seeing some of his antics, I get it. Players are emotional, but I've seen people compare him and Mizorowski and Mizorowski's emotions. They aren't the same.
No.
That's not the same. I don't mind celebrating when you have success, but then when you are throwing fits when you personally are not having success, I'm not about that.
And every at bat, it felt like in the postseason.
Yeah. And I know he's young. He's got to get grown up to doing that, but no. Don't like it. All right, we got to take a quick break. Back with more after these few words. Here's a fun little stats nugget from Codify Baseball. The last 3 Major League Baseball pitchers with 10 or more strikeouts, 0 walks, and 1 or fewer hits allowed in a game. Can you name them?
Brandon Sprout, Brandon Woodruff.
You cheater. You saw that, didn't you? You cheater. So, but yeah, those are the 3. They're all Milwaukee Brewers. Mizorowski did it on, June 12th on that epic game. And then Brandon Woodruff did it in his return, and then Brandon Sprout the other day. So, wow. That's, it's hard to believe. I feel like every year we talk about the Brewers pitching and just how solid they are. But then I feel like we ask the same question. Well, are they better this year than last year? Because last year their pitching was pretty solid, right? And then you had Mizorowski to it and that. But now you're like, okay, pitching's got to be better. But then a couple years ago, it was Corbin, it was Freddie, it was Brandon Woodruff. But for crying out loud, it feels like every single year we ask the same question. Is their pitching better than the year prior? And right now, how do you not say that they're better than the year prior? And how do you not say that they've been better maybe last 5 years? Is this the best pitching group?
That's what I was about to ask. Is this better than Peralta, Woodruff, Burns?
Because what year was that? What year was it that Burns won the Cy Young? Because then I'll look up we've got, 2021, okay. So 2021 pitching numbers. Brewers were number 1 in strikeouts. Their team ERA was second best, 3.38. Opponent's batting average, they were second best at 2.20. What else do we want to look at? I mean, that's pretty much it, right? ERA, opponent's batting average, and strikeouts. Where are they at now?
Right now.
Yeah, so just kind of compared to where they're at now. Oh, I should look up home runs given up too. Yeah, home runs. They were second best, giving up 73. So, I mean, number 1 in strikeouts right now. They are second best in home runs given. Oh, wait, I'm on 2026. What am I doing? I want 2021 here. Hold up. So, Brewers actually gave up the 5th fewest home runs in 2021. Their opponent's batting average was second best, 218. Strikeouts, they were number 1. So, I mean, it's comparable, but that 2021 team, yeah, you had Corbin Burns, who was 11-5 with a 2.43 ERA. Brandon Woodruff was 9-10, but a 2.56 ERA. Freddie, where's Freddie on this list? Well, it might be easier if I just look it up here. Freddie Peralta in 2021 was 10-5 with a 2.81 ERA. So you had 3 pitchers under 3. Right now, the Brewers, I mean, if we look at their pitchers right now, let me bring up, because, we know Miz is under 2, right? Miz is under 2.
Yeah, 1. Where are you?
Miz is 1.45. Kyle Harrison's 2.50. Sproat is still a 5.43. I'm looking just at starters. Shane Drone's a 3.12. Logan Henderson was at a 2.74. So hopefully if he comes back, then you're talking about that. But Brandon Woodruff right now is at a 3. So I think he's got time to get that under. Is it almost fair to say maybe 2021 had the best top 3? As of right now, that could change. But as of right now, is this one deeper?
Well, and that's the question.
Go ahead.
Would you take Mizorowski over Burns?
I was just going to say that. Is Mizorowski pitching better than Burns? Yes.
Yeah.
Is Kyle Harrison pitching better than, let's say, Freddie Peralta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Brandon Woodruff might be a little bit of a wash, but he had a better ERA and he was healthier at that point last year too. So maybe advantage to 2021 Brandon Woodruff. But then it's after that. Can I narrow it down to 2021 here? Yeah. So Eric Lauer was on that team, 7.5 with a 3.19 ERA. Adrian Hauser, the other starter, 10-6 with a 3.22 ERA. I mean, so overall, those are really good numbers from top 5. Man, that's going to be hard to beat. But Mizorowski and Harrison are so dominant so far. That's the difference in this, too.
Was 2021 the year we traded Hader?
I think so. Yeah, because he had a 1.23 ERA. I think it was 2021. Because then Devin actually had 8 wins. He was 8-2 that year. He pitched in 58 games, or maybe it wasn't. 2022. Okay, 2022. So, yeah. So you had Devin as your setup, and then Adrian or Josh Josh Hader as your closer.
So your bullpen was definitely better in 2021.
Brent Suter. I forgot. Suter was 12-5 with a 3.07 ERA that year. Wow. JP was in there. Oh, so that was the year they traded for Willie Adames. That's right.
Aaron Ashby started there that year. Still had Drew Rasmussen.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Numbers-wise, it's going to be tough. But if you take the numbers away and just it's just Mizorowski's so top-heavy with what he's doing right now compared to that 2021 pitching roster. Yeah, that was that playoff series where the Brewers they limped in and they didn't get anything done offensively against the Braves. Yeah. I think Rowdy Tellez
that's what I was about to say. I think he hit the home run in game 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, your 2021 offensive roster, yeah. Oh, Garcia was the right fielder. That's right. He had 29 home runs. Wow. Luis Urias had 23 home runs that year for the Brewers.
Dang. Colton Wong playing.
Colton Wong. Yelly only had 9 that year. Willie Adames had his 20. Manny Pena had 13. Tyrone Taylor, 12. Omar Narvaez, 11. Oh, that was rough.
Good old Keston Hira.
Yeah. Yikes. That is a rough offensive lineup. Man.
Well, and then they traded for Escobar. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that was rough.
The Jackie Bradley era.
Yeah. That was the old team where it just felt like Kane was running out of time.
Yep.
And Jackie Bradley it was time to be done.
Yep. Exactly. Colton Wong was up there in age too, I believe.
He definitely was.
Man. It's tough. It's going to be tough to beat those pitching numbers though. From that 21 season. Mizorowski's the better one out of all of them, but
both are really comparable, honestly.
I think this is an overrated number now, or an overrated stat now, but I do think Mizorowski's going to finish with more wins than what Corbin Burns had. He was 11-5 in that year, and Mizorowski's already had 8. So I mean, he's going to have more wins. Kyle Harrison's going to have more wins.
Yeah,
but I just think. Again, that year, though, look at that offense. They didn't have any run support. How many, just curiosity, strikeouts did Corbin Burns? So Corbin had 234 strikeouts in that 21 season. Mizorowski right now has 138, so he's less than 100 away from Corbin Burns. That's insane.
That's insane.
Now, to be fair, Corbin walked only 34 batters. Miz has 20, but he's gotten really good at that as of late here.
Yeah.
Too. That could still stand. So Corbin started 28 games that year. Brandon Woodruff started 30. Freddie had 28 games, 27 he started. Mizorowski, if we put him, let's say 28 games started, so let's say he starts 13 more. How many more wins would you say? Because I don't think he gets to 20. That if he would go 13 more wins, he'd have to win, or 13 more games, he'd have to win 13 and get to 21.
Yeah, I think he gets 7.
So he goes 15 wins?
That's kind of being generous to other teams the way he's pitching right now.
I might go 8 more.
Yeah.
Him or Harrison finishes with more wins. Oh, man, it's going to be tough because they're both at 8 right now.
Yeah.
I think Mizorowski goes 16, Harrison has 15.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, I think that pitching wins and losses are overrated now. So it's
Aaron
doesn't tell
Ashby's
you.
got 10.
That's the thing. Yeah. Aaron Ashby's 10-1 now, though. So, all right, we got to take another break. We'll be back after these quick words. Hey, if you are a veteran, a couple of our awesome partners are teaming up to give you a free oil change for a year. AJM Automotive and the VFW Post 305 are teaming up. If you go to the VFW Post 305 located on 1300 Star Avenue, you can nominate a veteran. There's going to be a little sign-up box there. You can nominate a veteran or nominate yourself if you're a veteran. And this is going to go until about July 10th, I believe. But then they'll select a winner. And because AJM Automotive is awesome and John and his team there are awesome, they're going to give free oil change for a year for a veteran. So head on over to the VFW Post 305. Grab yourself some breakfast, some lunch, some dinner, or just a beverage. Or remember, Saturdays, hang out on the patio with that gorgeous view of the river, some live music, and nominate a veteran for a free oil change for a year. So big thanks to AJM Automotive for doing that, and a big thanks to VFW Post 305 for allowing us, or for allowing AJM Automotive to put up a box there and try to find a veteran to give a free oil change to. So John asks, am I wrong to think that PCA is overrated? I don't think, how do I want to say this? I don't know if I'd use the word overrated. I think he's a good player, but maybe just a little bit more hyped up than he is. I mean, because numbers don't lie. He is hitting 285, 17 home runs. He is a good outfielder, has made some boneheaded plays. But I'd take a lot of those numbers from an offensive standpoint. Does he get maybe a little bit too hyped up? Probably. Pumped up. I don't think I'd say overrated, though. I don't know if I'd go overrated. That's a little bit. Maybe I need to see it a little bit more than just 1 year. Sort of.
Yeah.
Last year, okay, he kind of exploded on the scene and that, and then he got the big contract. He did hit 31 home runs last year. The average stuff. I think if he continues this trend right now and he finishes this season, I don't think we could say overrated. I mean, his WAR is pretty decent right now. I mean, you're talking about a 5 WAR. Last year was a 6 WAR, wins above replacement. So I don't know if I could say overrated, but maybe a little. I don't know what the right word is.
Yeah, he's like in between.
Yeah, exactly.
So and maybe he's properly rated. I guess that would mean.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like, you can't talk to a Cubs fan about him because then he is overrated. But I think the people who know a lot about sports probably give him a proper rating.
I got another am I wrong? You'll appreciate this maybe because you also are a baseball coach. So we've got a tournament this weekend. Am I wrong that it's insanely ridiculous that our team's got to play 4 games in a row with no break?
Yeah. That's insane.
For 9-year-olds?
That's insane.
4 games in a row with no break.
And that's not coach pitch. That's
kid pitch.
Yeah. That's insane.
That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah. How are you going to pitch them all?
We literally have to go probably like 1 inning each and just kind of spread it out. Yeah, and it's like over, I'll just say it's in my hometown of Medford, so it's like an hour and 20-minute drive. And we got 9 o'clock in the morning right away Saturday.
Yikes.
Look, what are we doing here with these kids? 4 in a row? Are you kidding me? What if it was going to be like 100 degrees?
Yeah. I know we played a tournament on turf a couple weeks ago. Felt like 100 on turf. Played 3 games in a row, and the third one our guys didn't show up because they were so tired.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a potential. Could be 5 total in one day.
That's insane.
Because it's like pool play, and then, if you get enough, then you advance. There's going to be 1 team that doesn't play 5. Because there's 4 teams, I think. It has to be 4 teams. There's 1 team that won't play 5 based off the record. But there's a real possibility it's 5 games in one day. And 4 in a row. Like, this is 9-year-old baseball.
Time to earn your paycheck, coach.
What are we doing? Like, are you kidding me? And that's my hometown. I'm embarrassed. I will call it out right now. I'm embarrassed to say that's where I used to. Because I'm on one hand, I'm excited because it's the same fields that I play Little League on. So Hudson's going to be playing on them and that. So I'm excited to go back to there and that. But 4 flipping games in a row for these kids from 9 a.m. straight. Like, are they not allowed to have lunch? Are they not allowed to get what are we doing here with these kids? That's just ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. All right. It's kind of a grind my gears, but it popped up because we got a little chat going on and parents are trying to figure out how to feed kids. Which they're like, well, what do we do? Like, and I'm like, I don't know, but ridiculous. So, somebody said PCA is not outrageous, perfectly hated. So
that
might be a good way to put it. That might be a good way to put it. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's take our final break here because we got some picks that we have to get to. So if you have any other final am I wrongs, please send those on over. You can text those to the Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. We'll do some picks. Obviously, we don't have a Brewers game to pick, but hey, we do have Soccer World Cup USA. Team USA is in action late tonight, 9 p.m. So, but we'll throw that one in there too. So, all right, final break, and then we'll wrap it up with some picks coming up after these quick words. All right, let's wrap it up with some picks here this morning. Let's go to the baseball world, and let's start off there before we do some World Cup picks. Again, got some games, got teams off days and such, getaway days and that. But Kansas City versus Tampa Bay. Who are you going to roll with?
The Rays.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rays too. Seattle, Pittsburgh.
Seattle.
I'm going to go Seattle. Athletics, Giants.
Athletics.
I'm going to go Giants for this one. Let's go Houston and the Tigers.
The Tigers.
I'm going to go Houston. I'll go Houston. Let's go Philadelphia, Washington.
Philadelphia.
Philly. Texas, Toronto.
Texas.
Toronto. Chicago Cubs, Mets. Hey, Matthew Boyd pitches versus Freddie Peralta.
We'll go Cubs.
I'm going to go Cubs too. Yankees, Red Sox.
Yankees.
Diamondbacks, Cardinals. I'm gonna go Diamondbacks for this one. So, do we have the? Okay, so Matthew Boyd will obviously not be pitching against the Brewers. I was just kind of curious, but it looks like TBD here for, or do they have it for the Friday? It says TBD here, or undecided for Cubs for Friday's contest.
Yeah.
Does they have anything listed for Saturday? Nope. Sunday? Nope. All right. Well, they're running out of arms anyways. Who the heck knows?
They just traded for David Peterson from the Mets.
Yeah. And his numbers haven't been great this year either. So, all right. World Cup. We've got Team USA going up against Turkey. Who are you rolling with?
I'll go Team USA.
Yeah, why not? They're 2-point favorite, so let's go Team USA. They've already advanced, right? Because they're 2-0. So
when they're whatever you call it.
They're group.
Yes, group.
Group D. So yeah, I'm gonna go Team USA too. But main thing is keep the momentum and stay healthy, right? No injuries. Can't have it. But your early thoughts on Brewers Cubs? Do you think the Brewers will get her done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at least 2 out of 3. I could see a sweep. If they sweep the Cubs, go 10 games up in the division.
Oh.
I mean, the Cubs will be reeling at that point.
Because right now it's Brewers are up 7 over the Cardinals and Cubs. Who do the Cardinals? Oh, they got Miami this week, but then they got the Braves after. So, wow. What happened? What if?
Yeah.
What if Monday morning or after this weekend, because I won't be here Monday, but what if after this weekend the Brewers are 10 games up on all their opponents in the division? You know what's going to happen with the naysayers, though? They're peaking too early.
Didn't we say that last year, though?
After the All-Star break,
Yeah.
when they're peaking too early.
Red hot.
What are you going to, that's why, what do you do, though? Say, cool it, don't win so much, and then just kick it into gear late, a month before? I mean,
it's kind of what the Dodgers did almost.
Yeah, but it's they still won a lot of games for the Dodgers. So, what do you say to a team? You're peaking too early? Well, what do you want us to do? You know what I mean? I've always just
they're just a good team.
They're just, yeah. To me, that's one of the more confusing, ridiculous things to say about a team like Pikachu. I get it. I understand, there's been moments in that, but okay, how do you counter that then? What do you do? Tell the team not to win?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. They're just doing their thing. And it's not they're putting up good numbers, but it's not like they're winning 10-2 every day, where they're just absolutely dominating. They're grinding out wins in that. So yeah, I don't know, but all right. I'm kind of leaning towards. I honestly would be disappointed if they don't win the series, considering the pitching matchups.
Yeah.
If they don't win this series, I know it's a division team, and I know it's going to be a Cubs team that's going to come in and want to enact a little revenge in that. But I mean, with your top 3 starters going, and you're at home, where you have been great this year, you have to win that series. That's no excuses. Mm-hmm. And if they lose, I'm not going to over-exaggerate it, but that you should be favored in this thing.
Yeah.
if you treat it like a postseason, you would be picking the Brewers any day and twice on Sunday if it was matched up this way.
Yeah, especially the matches. I mean, the Brewers purposely lined up their best 3 arms to throw against the Cubs. They better win 2 out of 3.
Yeah. I would 100% agree with that. 100%. So, but that's why they play the game, right? That's why they play the game. What else do we got? Kind of wrap it up before the shot clock comes up. Yeah, the ball trade. That's all still all over the place here.
Do you think that was their trade to keep Ant-Man happy? Do you think that's the Damian Lillard trade of the Timberwolves?
That's an interesting trade if it is to keep. I know they needed a point guard, but
because the report said that he went to ownership and said he wanted a co-star.
Who else would have been potentially out there?
Kawhi,
Like Jaylen Brown, it is not.
Kawhi and Jaylen Brown were the only really 2.
Yeah. I mean, numbers-wise, LaMelo Ball is he puts up good numbers, right?
I believe so.
For a point guard, he's actually taller than I thought he was. He's listed at 6'7". I didn't think he was that tall. But I mean, yeah, last year he did average over 20 and 7 assists a game. On the surface, on paper, those 2 in the backcourt, Rudy Gobert's your defensive guy.
Yeah.
You've got McDaniels. They seem to have a typical nice 5 lineup. I think that their biggest weakness almost was they were too big and not enough, backcourt help. At least maybe Mike Conley Jr., they don't have to rely on him anymore to be their main point guard. So I get it. It's just it feels like a lot of people are saying the Timberwolves gave up a lot, though, for this move.
Yeah, I didn't think LaMelo Ball was worth all they gave up, but
that's the thing. But
again, that's why it's almost like are they trying to keep Ant happy? Because, like you said, the media is going to shift focus to Ant now because Giannis is gone.
Yep.
So he's the next small market guy.
Yep. It is. I will say though, this is definitely Khan's team in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I mean, now he's the guy. He's the go-to guy. So, and good. I mean, it's a Wisconsin kid, so
he's a good player.
He is a good player.
He reminds me a lot of Klay Thompson.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I don't know whatever Charlotte.
I don't know what they're doing either.
I don't get it, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I'm really curious, though, to see how LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards play together in that backcourt.
Yeah.
That's going to be something. So he shot 40% from the field. He was about 36. Okay, so he's about a 36. He's been pretty darn consistent throughout his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been banged up, though, too. In the middle part, last year he did play 72 games. But, yeah, numbers-wise, he's very consistent with a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I think clock's ticking, though, for Timberwolves. Kind of a little bit similar to the Bucks, but at least the Bucks had a championship.
Yeah.
But, yeah, definitely it's ticking. Which stinks. That's what I hate about sport and really hate about basketball.
Yes.
Is you got to force a narrative, and there's certain people in the media that are worse at it, like Stephen A. the other day just ripping Milwaukee. This like, oh, I feel bad for Tyler Hero. I'd retire rather than going to Milwaukee. Seriously, dude, like this is the problem is narratives like that just let's just lower the league to 8 teams then and big markets, and that's it. If that's what you want.
Yep.
I hate that. All right. We'll end on that note. Have a good rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow morning to wrap up the week, 6 a.m. We'll talk to you then.